All right, can I have somebody check and see if I'm live? Actually, I can hear now feedback. So it's got feedback. What's that? Check one, check.
Roger, Big Ben, Breaker 21. You're coming through Hogtown, clear as a bell.
Yeah, but I've got a bad echo. I've got a bad
I don't
about
hear
this.
it here. I
Trying
don't
to
hear
figure
any
out why I have
echo.
an echo.
Could be a watch page or another channel coming through, another microphone that's picking up.
I can't hear anything. It's roboting, so.
You sound good on this end.
Yeah, but I've got something feeding back through. Oh, I think
log,
I know what it
log
is.
off. Log
I
off from this
no,
one,
I think I. Hold on.
Like it says in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, don't panic.
Check.
Good.
Sound good.
Stop talking. Check. No, I've got an echo still. Okay,
Check.
Why is this repeating? All right. Can either of you jump on Facebook and see if the stream is going on Facebook?
YouTube or Facebook?
Oh, I'm sorry. YouTube. I think I... Okay, hold on. Let me...
It's showing live with three viewers. So, me, Jimbo, and Lemon, I think.
Yeah, I don't know where this feedback's coming from.
Or wait, we're on Discord, so you've got 3 viewers on the YouTube. My bad.
Usually the feedback comes from the person with voice activity instead of push to talk. Usually. Either that or you have 2 devices streaming at the same time close to each other.
Okay, so I hear everybody's echo. So
And on voice activity instead of push to talk?
Well, no, I mean, I'm just on my phone like I normally am. I don't have...
Are you on Bluetooth, Bo?
No, I just have my headphones set in the way I normally do. Wonder what is... Oh, wait. I'm just trying to figure out where this is coming from.
Anybody have it on phone and on the...
Go ahead, Lemon.
Anybody have it on their phone and on the computer close by at the same time or whatever?
Travis, do you have like anyone the YouTube page open on your phone too that might be giving your headphones feedback?
No, that's what I thought. That's what I thought I had, but no.
What if you unplug your headphones and just listen through your speaker real quick? What happens?
Hold on. Check. Can you guys hear me?
Sounds good here, yeah.
Okay, don't anybody talk. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Don't anybody talk. Check. Hello, check. Okay, now Aaron, can you talk? Say something.
Hey Travis, sounds better. Sounds good on this end.
Huh. So I did unplug my headphones and the echo went away. That's really weird. All right. Let me see if I'm going to plug it back in. Let's see if it happens again.
Okay.
All right, I'm back. Check. Anybody?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so okay, so now I don't hear it. The echo's gone. Okay.
Yay!
All right. So now I want to check. See. We got 9 watching, and it looks like Cleary's out there. John Gulzik is out there. Snowman's out there, and then some others that haven't. Okay, so guys in Cleary, I can see you. Cleary, can you type, thumbs up that the audio's good? See how that goes. See how long it takes him to respond. All right, I don't see them responding. Okay, let me put. Okay, Cleary got the thumbs up. Okay, all right. Okay, so you guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, so I'm going to start the show the way I wanted to. I'm going to start off with 2 karaoke songs, so you guys go on mute, and we're going to do this. So welcome back to another exciting adventure of The Plain Truth. I'm your host, Travis Finley. This is a hijacking of Brandon's show on Ranty Flat Earth, soon to be renamed something. Brandon is on holiday. Woo. Go on mute. Anybody else on the panel, go on mute. Brandon is on holiday and's got anniversaries, birthdays, Christmas, and all that kind of stuff. But I thought, hey, let's see if we can try this on the road thing. And so far, it's working out. So if you are a normal panelist with Brandon's Discord, go ahead and jump on in, but put yourself on mute. I'm going to have a karaoke where you should sing along on the first one, and then the second song is a flat. It's been a while. So what I'm gonna do. I never on this. Here we go. It's nobody's. Anybody out there on YouTube, give me a thumbs up. Don't know the reason. Stay here all season. Nothing to show about this brand new 10 guessing it might be roboting really bad, so. Alright, we'll knock that off. Okay, welcome to the show. Alexander Lightwater, thanks for telling me it was roboting awfully, so. Alright. It is what it is. Everybody there, let's jump in and say hello.
Yeah, Travis, I didn't catch any of the karaoke, but I love your ambition. I was just going to let you ride it all the way through.
So, all right. Well, Aaron's here, Jimbo's here. Who else is in the show? Anybody? I see me, myself, Aaron, Jimbo, and somebody else. All right, guys. Well, what's going on? That was disappointing. I was all ready to rock out, but I know that it robots a lot. So.
Me too. But once you kick the music on, everything just kind of roboted out.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's all right.
So, Aaron, you weren't in the show yesterday.
No, I listened. I was listening in.
Yeah. What are you up to?
Right now, just got home. Just taking care of little odds and ends, and I knew you were coming on, so popped on.
You got any work lined up for the next couple days, or is everybody?
I'm still looking into optical activity and just finding more and more things that it really relates to, and a lot of these visual situations we see.
Why don't you can you unpack that? Do you have anything that you can maybe bring up and point out?
Well, I can pop a few links in the back channel there in the general, and we can take a look at them, and take me a few minutes to pop a few from the web.
Well, I won't be able to do anything with that because I'm driving. So if you could just,
am I able to present screen and stuff?
Yeah, you should be. Yeah.
Okay, let me get a few links, and we'll take a look at some of the shit.
Yeah.
Pebble in the Pond just arrived.
Oh, okay. And that's Peter the Great as well, right? What I heard.
Yep.
How's it going, man? Good. Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
And is your name Peter? Is that good? Name's Peter.
Well, you can call me Pete.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Have you been messing around a little bit more with your warehouse setup?
No, I'm on a 3-week vacation, so I won't be in the warehouse.
Nice. Are you going anywhere warm, or are you staying up where your
I'm staying up where it's cold.
Okay.
Actually, we have plus weather out here, but so it's kind of like muddy and wet everywhere. All the snow's melted away.
Do you have anything coming up on the forecast that's going to bring more snow, or?
I actually haven't checked. I don't know.
So what do you got planned for your vacation? You got any stuff that you got to projects around the house you got to do, or are you going to just hang out? You have.
We've been building a few extra rooms in our parents' house, so younger siblings can get their own rooms, and there's plenty of stuff to do here.
Good deal. So are you in a rural area?
Well, we're like a part of a small town, but there is a larger town not too far away.
Okay. Yeah, I listened to a detective series by Louise Penny. She's got her. There's a small town outside of Quebec called Three Pines in her story. So there's a lot of Canadian back stories. There was one novel that she wrote that had to do with the French and Indian situation, and tied into a current investigation that the fictional lead investigator was looking into. So it was pretty interesting.
I heard, was it Quebec that the leaders, alleged leaders, were chatting about going into like a tier 4, like London lockdown or something.
I'm guessing that's for Pete. You still there, Pete?
Yeah, say that again.
I just heard, I can't remember where, maybe it was Sky News or something, but Quebec, right? Ontario, that province was, state was, the alleged leaders were talking about going into like a full lockdown till after the new year or something. I don't know if you've heard about it, but I didn't know you were from Quebec, but I was just thinking about Montreal, just seeing what he might have to say about that if you heard anything.
Well, I've been in Canada for many, many years now. So I haven't really been following what's happening in Canada.
Yeah.
Been living in Finland for some 13 years now.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, there's one positive thing that happened in our politics. There was actually one politician who wasn't wearing a mask and talking against COVID stuff. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Of course, man.
Are you a politician from Finland or a politician from back in Canada?
politician from Finland.
Oh, okay. So what took you out there?
Our parents, they were born in Finland, so and my mom's whole family was out here, so kind of want to learn the Finnish ways.
Uh-huh. What's been the most interesting cultural characteristic that you either enjoy or don't or both?
Well, I'd probably say you have your own space. It's sometimes a good thing, and then other times it's kind of annoying. But yeah, people give you space. Sometimes it might seem very unpolite when they don't like say hi or something, but it's just the way the Finnish people are.
Mm.
When they do say hi, they actually want to know what's going on.
Yeah. Not the fake bullshit. Like, hey, how you doing? Like, you don't care, dude. Why'd you ask me that? You actually don't care. So.
Yeah, that would be like the opposite then for the Finnish. Everybody knows that if you say or if you greet someone that you're in for a sit-down chat that's going to last longer than a passerby, right? So
yeah,
if Bob doesn't say hi, you know he doesn't have time. It's not personal.
I can't remember who was talking about it. It might have been me and Left Lane or somebody, but it was a while back, a couple months, and we're just joking about that. You walk into a convenience store or something, and you get your item, you go up there, and the lady's like, how you doing? And I'm just, for a long time, just like, oh, good, how are you doing? Back and forth, just the stupid lies, And so finally, I'm just like, do you really want to know? Right? Become friends with these ladies now, and they're like, no, not really. I'm like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye.
yeah. It's the stores are probably the biggest difference. Like when you go to buy your stuff, it's just a few words, and you're done. There's no conversation with the cashier.
Yeah, here in Texas, they're and I'm mainly raised in Seattle, the Pacific Northwest of the U.S. And so one big difference down here is you walk into a hardware store, even a grocery store, and one of the floor clerks will run up to you and be like, can I help you find anything? What are you looking for? Right? And they just want to know all this. They maybe truly want to help you out. But I'm like, get out of my business, right? if I can't find what I want, I'll come find you, and then you can help me.
Right, that's what it's like in Finland. If you can't find it, that's when you go ask. But rarely they come ask you if you need help.
Yeah, here they're all waiting at the door, and I'm just like, I go to the hardware store just here in a local little town. It's actually called the hardware store. And so these high school kids who just got a job there, like, hey sir, how you doing? What can I help you look for? And I'm like, you guys got any hardware? And they don't get it right away. Like, well, yeah, I've got everything. What are you looking for? I was like, well, I was just looking for some bits of hardware. Just trying to make a joke, but they don't get it. So.
I went to a hardware store once and bought some used paint. It was in the shape of a house.
I don't get it.
It was already used. Somebody painted a house, and so that's the shape. The clerk came by and said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, I was looking for some software. Do you guys have software?" He said, "No. Do you have any other questions?" I said, "Yeah. Do you know what batteries run on?" I bought some dry ice or dry water, but I don't know what to add. I ruined that joke. Anyway, all right. I put the Discord link out there in the YouTubes if anybody is wanting to join the panel. Jimbo, did you get your stuff lined up at all? Figured it out?
Well, I got one or two links, but I'll post them in a few. I'm getting some other stuff, graphics more so, because wordy word and stuff. I'll have some stuff in a few minutes.
All right. Let's see. What was I going to say? I put in. Let's see if I can see it. What chat did I put that in? I put a link in one of the text channels of kind of like I think it was like I can't remember how many pages, like a 65-page like book pamphlet kind of a thing that one of the trolls in Ranty's chats sent me because we were arguing back and forth about the shape of the Earth and whatnot. So he sends me this book. How long have we known the Earth was a globe, or something like that? It was written by Russian novelist Isaac Asperov, I think his name is. I'm trying to remember what smurfing thing I put that in.
I saw your comments on it. Who sent that to you? Flurfy Flurfer or whatever?
Either that or the puppy love guy.
Mm.
One of those, maybe.
I didn't see the actual link they sent. I just saw you commenting back and said, "This is your proof. This is your evidence."
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing cited, and it was just basically again the same stories that we've heard. But doggone it, I'm trying to think of. I thought it was like this show topics. Maybe that's it. Show topics. There it is. Yeah, it's in show topics. So if anybody's at a desktop and you want to pull up that link and share your screen, we could. I thought it would be interesting just to read through it and have a reaction to the comments. I think the very first line in the article is, the ancients believed that the Earth was flat. So it starts out giving, a nod to an indeterminable class of people called the ancients.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we don't know when they stopped being ancient. The article, the pamphlet does bring up a transition into the Greeks and the transition into that, but there aren't any dates given. So it's just this. It's like,
what do you call that when there's no timeline? It just says, well, I mean, everyone knows what we know what an ancient thing is, right? Because we've been brainwashed, like, oh, the earth is ancient, old ass things are ancient, right? But when you're going for proof or even some kind of something you can wrap your mind around, when you're looking into a topic like science, you don't just say, well, one guy said, right?
yeah, right. Yeah, there's no way to research that one guy. Who's that?
Yeah.
Where did he say this?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw SE out there. Yeah, SE's still there. You guys joined the panel. I can't remember what you said, Pete. Did you want to bring something up in particular?
Not really.
Okay. Is Christmas a big thing in Finland?
Yeah.
It's all commercialized. Everything's all, you got Santa Clauses out and lights and reindeer and.
Well, we don't really see Santa Clauses early. We don't
Isn't
have that.
there? Well,
It's usually a Santa
the
that like walks around and just shares candy. It's not that like people or the kids sit in the lap and ask for presents or whatever.
same here. But isn't there a national dispute going on between maybe Finland and Norway, like where the North Pole is? So it's like, I know it's all bullshit, but there's still like that. What do you call it? Nostalgia of like, the Finns are like, no, we found Santa. That's where the story came from, and the Norwegians are like, no, we found Santa.
Oh, well, see, Santa lives in Finland. Korvatunturin.
That okay? See, end of story.
Yeah, he's got a whole place for himself there. Never actually been there. I've driven past the place, but I never actually visited.
Can't remember what show I was watching. It was years ago, but they went up to that place, and that's how I remember that. Can't remember what it was. I like how you said it so confidently, though. Well, Santa does live in Finland. Just so you know.
Yeah.
So, Pete, were you listening to the show at all yesterday? I talked a little bit about some of the things that I picked up on the last video that you put out. Did you see what my thoughts were on that at all?
I did watch your videos, but I can't remember if I was listening to like the Ranty show yesterday.
Yeah. So you saw my video from my channel where I looked at your video.
Yeah, I saw that.
What did you think? Okay, yeah. Anything constructive?
Yeah, I like the comparison of the sail of the boat. It does mimic like what effect that had with the smaller boat on my observation.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be interesting to be able if we could capture that the proximate looming effect. I don't know.
I think that's going to
be. That.
I think that is going to be the monster because I think that the waviness when you open the door on your side, you could see the fluctuation in the air, but the mirage didn't develop from your end. It did. It moved out across the floor, and the floor had a mirage. But from what I remember, I don't think that it went as far as affecting the observation, so that when you opened the door on the other side, that kicked in the influx of cold air, which then distorted the image in an inferior mirage. But the proximate looming, that part, I have, or even looming itself, because looming, I actually went out and shot today before I came to work, and the NASA Page Shields guy from last night said, yeah, looming's not very frequent. I'm like, you guys have no clue what you're talking about. This stuff happens all the time. It happens all the time.
Before I
Go ahead.
forget, Pete, great. I was gonna ask you what prompted you to do this, but then I got thinking more. I was like, man, think about this. What if? I'm thinking to myself, what if Pete had his floor just misted wet, right? So your warm floor was just with a mister. You don't have to have like puddles of water anywhere. What difference would that make? And then I even went further to think, what if you were standing there with a mister, right? Just one of them garden sprayer things. It's not a jet stream of water. It's just that shoots out mist. And if you did that, think of the condensation rate, right? With that cold air rushing in, I wonder what would happen to the objects, right? From a distance.
Well, there actually are misters on the ceiling that keep the moisture at a certain level, but I don't really see it make it to the floor. They kind of dissipate before it actually lands on the floor.
Yeah, which they should do, right?
Yeah.
Kind of that. What that, if you or anyone were to replicate that again, that might be interesting. Just to throw in, because the ballers always think it's just one. There's only one variable, curvature, right? Well, you threw in cold air, right? Okay, let's throw in cold air and water, mist, and then maybe have a fan blowing. So cold air and wind, water. Just it'd be pretty interesting.
Well, I did actually do this. I didn't actually remember I had this. I have footage. Actually, I'll just try to share it right away.
What's cool with the mist is you could do that with warm water or cold water too. Just see the different effects.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I think. Yeah, this was from. I think this was from 80 meters. Yeah, 80 meters. I just have the same objects. This was after the video that Travis you had on your videos there. So it's same positions and stuff. The other thing that's changed now is that I'm introducing so we had this like torch. So I'm just making the haze go past the camera, close to the camera, and it just kind of blurs everything out. But you can kind of see that the miraging effect still is there. It just can't focus on it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good idea too. Fucking torches heat up the air.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really interesting. The times when I've seen something that would be called a heat haze have not been always on warm days. Like, okay, so the way I'll say it is this: I'm not a believer in the whole data collecting variable thing where you can tell me what is happening because the air is 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 degrees colder than whatever, right? Because I've seen it in every single season. I mean, so okay, so let's say in the summertime, if the water is 86 degrees and the air is 80, is that going to have the same effect as in the fall when the water is 66 degrees and the air is 60? Okay, so it's just a consistent 6-degree difference, but it's a 20-degree difference between the base, right? So is it always going to produce that? So like if I went out today it was 44 degrees. So that's the air. I don't know what the water was, but my point is, I can see these effects in every season. So,
Exactly. I get what you're saying.
yeah. So I've seen on one of the most extreme. The first time I remember seeing an extreme example of looming is was in March. I went out with Derek. I don't think Adam was with us at that time. I think it was just Derek. And if you remember seeing the lighthouse, you can the last video that I showed, the lighthouse is pretty distinct. It's got its lines, and that's a lighthouse. But in this March footage, it is so compressed, and there's so much turbulence in the air that it's indistinguishable. But it was March, right? So when you think of heat haze, you think of looking over your car roof in the summertime and seeing things go crazy because it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
But March, it wasn't hot, so it's not necessarily a heat haze. It could just be a temperature differential haze, or a temperature pressure differential, or just a pressure differential. And it was a cloudy day, so there was no direct sunlight or anything like that. But anyway, I mean, that's the whole thing that I said before about this rookie investigator coming in, and he looks at one of the veteran investigators, his classic case. He sent the bad guy away. So this is my idol. This is my idol, and I come in and I'm a young rookie cop, and I'm like, hey Joe, can I take a look at your criminal investigation of that case, because I followed that, and you're the reason why I'm a cop. He's like, yeah, sure, son. And when you're looking at the stuff, you're like, wait, whoa, he put the wrong guy away. The evidence that I'm looking at is pointing in a completely different direction, right? So you're going to go up against this guy? You're going to go up against the whole force that have idolized this guy? You're going to challenge the status quo? You know how much time that would take? Hey, Sarge, you mind if I log in extra hours investigating Lieutenant Joe, because I think he did it wrong. I think he put the wrong guy away. Yeah, sure. Go ahead and log those extra hours. We'll pay you for it. No way. You know what I mean? So the kind of shit that I would have to do would be to start at ground zero with all of this stuff. And it's absolutely insane. So the only thing that I can do right now is describe the phenomenon and the events, and leave it at that. Now I'm good with that on my level. You know what I mean? But the discussion that we had yesterday with the whole having to get peer reviewed and whatnot, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
It's been said before. It's just the wall that any thinking is up against, right? Because the wall is just a consortium of your neighbors' walls that they've put up, and they can very quickly point to a guy in a white coat and say, yep, that guy told me, and see, you're wrong. Okay. And so, Travis, it's like, how much time and effort do you put into it experimental wise, or just talking wise?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would love to put in time on the experimental part, but I would have to have a team of people with me. This would have to be like $500,000. If you're
Yeah.
gonna, I mean, we're gonna take a year off, So I'm going to have to pay all of your expenses so that you can, pay rent and pay your food and pay your bills and all this kind of stuff, plus the equipment that we'd have to rent and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah,
It's a,
it would have to be a mental shift of the population's mind, or at least a part of the population's mind, and they do it perfectly. So their Antarctic, the flight over Antarctica, whatever that was, that didn't actually go there, right? They've got all their boats sailing everywhere, and all this is presented to the public's mind, like on morning news, right? We can't do that, you know, and and there's countless others. Space. So SpaceX, launched a rocket. Oh, there you go. Right on the morning news. The public's mind just built a wall. So even if you or anyone were to try to counter that, be like, we're going to prove that's not true, there would be no audience. You know what I mean? Generally, you know.
Sure. So it would be interesting to kind of go back on what Pete brought up. It would be interesting to analyze the differences in the climate when, like I said today. Today I had the conditions of looming, which means that I could see straight across the bay, all the way to the shore, no question in terms of concept, right? And whether or not you want to believe it, that's on you. But I've seen enough evidence when I can see the shoreline, when there's not looming, and in these images, the distance is there. I can see it, but the activity in the air is very turbulent. Well, I guess it was turbulent, and the image is compressed. Okay, but when there is proximate looming, the distance is cut off. I can't see as far, and instead of that distance being dropped down, it's very. I'm going to have to do. I find stuff all the time. I'm like, oh, that would be a great contrast image to show what happens. So it's kind of like, again, it's the focal length, right? So if I have, let's say, for instance, if I have two channel markers on the water, and when I zoom in to the full zoom, I can see them both fill up that field of view, so that they're in that field of view together, but they're large, right? Okay, so that's proximate looming. They're close up. I can see them. They're very large, very close up, and the water level in my field of view is high. On a looming day, those two channel markers are very, very small and very far away in the same zoom, and the water is dropped down. So there's completely two different visual effects. So,
Mike, but you should send this to the experts that claim they already know about looming, approximate looming, distential looming, and you already have, right? I know, Travis, you already sent some of this stuff out, and it just sucks because boom, there's that wall right there, like. What did what's his nut say? Well, it looks interesting, right? Looks interesting.
yeah.
And I'm not saying stop or anything. I'm just, I enjoy what you do, and many people actually enjoy what you and many others do. But at the same time, there's it's not going to be an overnight transformation of the human mind that's already stuck, in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be interesting, to look and see what the Newiki file would look like, because if it doesn't have the characteristics that I'm calling looming, it would just be interesting to see what the differences are in what he's got. But so, say for instance, with Andrew Thomas Young, and I've thought about doing this, taking each of his entries with looming, stooping, sinking, towering, and all of that stuff, because if you go to his page, he has a lot of the written text where he describes what's happening, but the only thing he has visually is something that he draws. I'm like, bro, can't you because if I'm looking at this and I don't have, say I don't have any field experience with the camera, that picture that you just showed me on the left doesn't tell me anything. I don't know what that is, and I don't know what it looks like when it's not looming, right? He doesn't have a before and after and distance, and so there's a lot of stuff that, in my opinion, is insufficient with the information that he's putting out there. Now,
Absolutely.
well, whatever that means, if it's intentional or not. But I mean, there are other spots in
It's
his
insufficient. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
it's
intentional.
insufficient. Yeah. But if you go to other pages, he will have other people's entries where he can show you these examples. But I'm talking about the pages where he's talking about those things specifically. The best that he can do is draw a diagram,
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
then I'm thinking, okay, well, wait a minute, how does that compare with what I think I've got that's looming or whatever? So it's I think it just needs to be spelled out a little bit more clearly.
If I will be taken the wrong way when I ask you this question. Okay, I'm not a glober, all you fucking people out there, but who are you trying to show your work to, Travis? Your neighbor, or professionals, or the world, or who's the audience that you think might open an eye to this and actually tell their buddy, or tell their colleague, or tell their representative, or you know
Yeah. So I mean, it would be all of the above, but the reach so far has been limited to personal contacts if I send it to a person individually, or if it's just out there for the public and you can see the viewer count on YouTube, right? So that's a limited audience. Now there is Andrew Thomas Young. I've sent him my stuff. No one else yet, because I didn't want to have too many fires going. And he's, I think, a pretty good indication of what the reaction is going to be. And he is very, very big on the math. He's like, if you don't understand the math, you're not going to go anywhere. And obviously, I've said this to him. I'm like, I don't need the math to tell you what's going on here. So all of that to say, you've heard me make this analogy before, and I'll just do it real quick for the audience. But when I was in the Christian church and I was rocking the boat there, it was evident to me, though, those who were closed-minded. We've had these conversations in these chats where we'll explain something from our perspective, and the baller will be like, I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense. You're not making any sense. You don't even understand what you're saying. And we're thinking, are you kidding me? This is so simple, right? We were saying it last night, right? This is so simple. And so I've been in those conversations in the religious arena where I'm talking about, I'm explaining, I'm like, I think you should look into this. And they're like, that's not true. It can't be true because of this over here. And I just sit there thinking, you're not even trying.
Was that last night that Jose popped in on you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. That guy right there. You're not even trying, you know. I heard you try to get through to him, and you were more than cordial and asked for apology for him lying and stuff. But anyways, that's just a side argument because what you've done is already out there, right? But the only comeback is you're a liar, dude. Travis, you lied, you know. And
Yeah.
that's so hard to overcome. It is hard to overcome
I mean,
to an
how
audience. Yeah.
easy,
You're cutting out a bit. Get through the dip.
okay, how easy would it have been for him to come in and say, "Hey, Travis, would you speak of a mountain right now?" Check, check, 1, 2, check,
Okay,
check.
yeah.
Coming back. Am I
Yeah,
back?
now you're good.
Am
Now
I
you're
back?
good. You're good. Now you're good.
Yeah, I'm actually at the height of a mountain in Western Maryland right now. But my point was, how easy would it have been if Jose would have come in and said, "Hey, Travis, would you mind showing us the metadata so that we can see that these pictures were the same?"
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's two different ways of doing it. He came in hot, calling me a liar, and then I didn't go back and listen to it, but he brings up a personal issue from like 2 years ago
Yeah.
out of like nowhere. Like what were you trying to do with that? I have no idea. But
Discredit
you
you.
know,
That's all. It's pretty
well,
simple.
whatever.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, yeah. So he's not getting that information. But anybody else here, if you're interested, yeah, I can show it to you.
So the Andrew Thomas Young, when you sent him, let's say that's a professional who's not on these panels at all, but he's sitting there looking for the mass, right? Here we have the rumpus, right? So you can present stuff, and the first thing he comes out, he starts doing his math, right? Moron, you don't understand the math. This is what it should look like. Or this is how I can explain it with these numbers, right? But one thing you've said over and over, Travis, is I don't know the math from the exact point of my lens to the object I'm looking at. When I say mass, I mean temperature, pressure, humidity, condensation, wind, evaporation. Uh, like there's so much math there, right? But they just come up with simple math, standard refraction, and this is how it should look because our math says so. Even though it doesn't quite look like that, well, there's going to be variations, Travis. You don't understand.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So then I showed Professor Full of Bull earlier today one of my pictures of the Gina platform where the body of Gina is completely cut off by the horizon. And when I showed him the picture the first time, his first response was, "Well, yeah, that's refraction, no doubt." I'm like, "Oh, okay, great. So it's not curvature." He's like, "Oh no, it's curvature. It's just that refraction has brought the curvature up that high."
Yeah.
Right? But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying in terms of proximate looming. That's exactly what I'm saying is happening. Right?
Yeah.
But the whole issue out there is, again, if you're going to make the claim that horizon is a physical curve, the only way that you can prove that is to physically measure it and then show that at that point you have an equivalent value with your math, right? You can show me what the math says, that's fine, but without verifying that physically, I mean, like, say for instance, if I were on a peer review board and someone said, "Hey, X, Y, and Z," and I said, "Did you verify it?" He said, "Yeah, I checked the math." I'm like, "Oh, no. Did you physically verify your math?" No. Well, then go back. I'm not signing this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not that hard.
proximate looming too, depending on what you capture. You know how that horizon looks, the water. Sometimes you see water on top of water. You know that's another issue. But let's just say one of those views, and Kosho I think was always talks about this, is like, see the water line right there, and it's crystal clear, and it's breaking a wave, so it's obviously got a swell, or it's it's in motion. It's dynamic. The water's doing something, and the boat behind it is obviously going over the curve. That's Kosho's argument, right? Well, instead of saying, well, that wave in front of you that could be at 2 miles, 3 miles, 6 miles, and the object you're looking at is off in the distance and blurry at 26 miles, but appears to be going behind that wave, it could be called progressive sinking, right? Due to all the factors we talk about also. Not curve, just, light progress, just makes it progressively look lower, and you have the wave in front of you, to block most of what you're trying to catch anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, even with the sinking aspect, I was impressed with the fact that both sinking and looming, because those are the opposite effects. Sinking is dropping an image behind the horizon farther than it should be, right? So we should see more of it, but when we don't, it's because the medium is dropping it down. But that to me, I just thought of it right now. That to me is, indicative of the fact that when we're looking at Canigou or any other large mountain, and they all bawl and say, "Well, how can 2,000 feet of the mountain be missing?" We don't ask that question on, let's say, for instance, on Gina. I think Gina's like 120 feet high, and 80 feet are her pilings and her body. So when you show me a pic, or if I took a picture like this and then went to somebody and said, "Hey, man, I've never seen this before. I just started taking pictures. What is this?" And they say, "Well, that's sinking." My question would be, how can that hide 80 feet of that oil rig? That's the same question. It doesn't make any difference what the scale is. The question is, how can 80 feet of this oil platform be missing, according to what you call sinking? And sinking is an optical phenomenon. So they don't have any problem with sinking on small scale. Yeah, we know that happens all the time. Well, it's happening here with Canigou. Oh, no, it's not happening.
Exactly.
Right? Jimbo, are you around, man? You want to take a shot at showing us what you got? And Peter, are you at a desktop?
I am.
Are you interested in participating?
What do you want me to do?
I was going to ask you to open up that link that I put in the show topics text channel. You know where those text channels are?
Yep.
Okay, so it's the show topics. It should be the second to last link there.
Yep.
So, because I'm driving, if you are interested and you're pulling it up and share the screen, just, I thought we could just read through and just kind of have like a first, anybody can respond to it, you, me, Jimbo, Aaron, anything that's said, let's just kind of pick it apart and put it out there.
Yep. Should be sharing now. What's it look like on YouTube?
Probably be in about another couple seconds for it to transition. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. You know what? It's not gonna show it because I don't. Oh wait, I think I can do it. Hold on, give me a second. Give me 1 second. I just gotta be tricky. Actually, it'll be a couple more than 1 second. But let's see. Trying to think of how this goes. So what has to happen is I have to activate the watch screen on. See if that does anything. Huh. Wonder how I make that window bigger because I clicked on watch it. I think I know. No, because that's sharing my screen. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Or do I? No, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Go ahead. We can just listen to the text.
So, have you read like this whole thing, or is there a certain spot you want to look through?
I would just start out where he says, in ancient times they believed the Earth was flat.
Alright, so far back in ancient times, everybody thought the Earth was flat.
Hello.
This is because it looks flat. If you are in a boat way out in the middle of the ocean, the top of the water looks flat in every direction, and the sky seems to fit over it like an upside-down bowl. The line where the sky and water meet is called the horizon. The horizon looks like a circle with you yourself at the center. If you are on land,
Okay, so let's stop right there real quick. So the only time the sky looks like a bowl that's turned upside down is if you draw it, right? So when I'm on the ground and I look above my head, I don't see a bowl. I don't see a bowl. It doesn't look like a bowl. So so like if I were to stand on the beach and take my left finger to the left horizon.
Don't think too deeply about that, Travis. This night sky, definitely looks like it. I can look east to west, north to south, and I can,
Right.
see the horizon all around me. So an upside down bowl it's okay. Like we don't.
And I mentioned this before too. If you take a point in front of you and a point behind you, and like basically imagine a string going straight out to one, and you basically lift up that string and move it over top of you and over to the other point, but you always keep the string at the same length, it automatically makes a dome. So wherever your vision stops, and then all the way up and then back down the other side, it has to, in a way, it has to be at least a personal dome of some sort, because this is how reality works. Like that's how it works at the same distance.
It appears that way, exactly.
Okay, but yeah, I get that, and I appreciate that, Bob. But let's say, for instance, we were in a constructed warehouse,
Mm-hmm.
and the ceiling was painted in such a way that we had no depth perception. So when we looked up, it just looked like we were looking up, and it just like looks like it goes forever. But it's a rectangle. Okay, it's a flat ceiling, and it's a rectangle because we're in a warehouse. Now, if I did that same thing, it's simply conceptual what you described. It doesn't draw. Right. It doesn't, because I don't know how far I'm look. So if I don't know how far away that,
right. You don't know how far out your eyes are looking whenever you look up in the sky. You don't know where it ends. That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, as far as understanding, like the way that, like I said, craning your neck like that. If you could look from the ground in front of you all the way backwards with your neck, if your neck was capable of doing that, it technically would make a dome just because of the way that works with the angles or whatever. But it doesn't give you any information about what's actually happening or where it's stopping up there. No.
Yeah, I appreciate that clarification. And then that was going to be my critique of the second thing that he said, that the horizon looks like a circle. No, it doesn't. Not unless you draw it. Put yourself in the middle and then draw it.
The horizon looks like a straight line. If you turn in a circle,
exactly.
then what you've created yourself is you turning in a circle, and therefore it looks like a circle because you turn in a circle. But even then, you have to take yourself out of yourself, bring yourself above yourself, perspective-wise, and look at how you turned and say, oh, I turned in a circle, and I can draw that on a piece of paper. It doesn't look at like a circle as you do it physically.
And then the same principle applies. Just like you don't know how far you're looking above you, you don't know how far ahead you're looking.
Yeah.
Without
that specific problem can be solved with markers, but in the sky we can't do that. So
correct. Yeah, right.
I would beg to differ and say that sailors on a bright sunny day, let's just say that sun's at noon, so you don't see stars or anything, and the water's calm. When they look around and turn around, you have to physically do this. Turn around. You could say that the horizon is a circle. It's flat, but it's a circle, right? Because you can't see forever.
It's a circle because that's how our movement works. Just like with the head thing going from front to back, it makes a dome shape if you take yourself out of yourself. Just like that, you spinning in a circle doesn't mean it looks like a circle. That means that's how your movement works. When you turn, you're making part of a circle, and if you turn all the way around, you're making a full circle. It's not even coincidence. It's just that's the way things are. That has nothing to do with it like you seeing a circle. That's what you're doing when you turn, is you're making a part of a circle. And if you turn all the way around, you made a full circle.
Okay, so you're saying when in your example, when you're talking about the celestial bodies, you're looking out and you arch your neck all the way back. Aren't you doing that same thing with your neck?
Yes, exactly. It's the same principle.
Yeah.
That because of how our movement works,
you said
we can conceptualize what shape that would be.
But you
in
said
2D
that
space.
could be considered a dome, right?
Yes. If we conceptualize it in 2D space, that's exactly what it would look like, is a dome. But that's all we're doing, is we're conceptualizing our head movement into 2D space as if we're looking at it on paper. Like, I mean, look at your screen. If you're watching
I'm
the
just
screen,
talking about standing
that's
on
exactly
your
what's
feet
happening.
And turning my head with my body, not. Or if I'm going to keep my feet still, I'm just going to wrap my head around my neck, right, Bob? Couldn't I conceptualize that? Just like
yes.
As
but
a circle,
here's what you couldn't do. You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that and then point to the circle somewhere. It would be impossible because you aren't actually seeing a circle.
You couldn't whiplash your neck and point to a dome either, right?
Exactly. That's my point. I'm saying
but
the
you
same
said
thing.
Conceptually we could. In your example, you're saying you could, but in my example, you're saying you can't.
No. I'm saying that in both the examples that you just mentioned, it's a concept. It's not you physically actually seeing a circle or seeing a dome. It's you conceptualizing the dome or the circle into place as if you're looking at it on paper. But that's it. Gotcha. You're not actually seeing a circle and you're not actually seeing a dome as far as you know.
Gotcha.
So do I read on?
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Is there no
Yep.
show today? I want to.
Okay, so it looks like SE asked the question, and you just asked the question. So yesterday, Brandon said that yesterday's show was the last show until next Monday because of the holidays.
I thought he just said it was last show, as in he was making his joke about the name. It's like, oh, this is the last show that I'm calling Ranty and Brandon. Ha ha ha.
No.
And then today he was going to give us the new name. That's okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Travis is here to fill in, using Brandon's Discord so that we could have a little chit chat. That's kind of what's going on.
Yeah, but yeah, go ahead, Pete.
If you are on land, the land stretches out to a horizon also. The horizon on land, however, is not even. It goes up and down because of houses, trees, hills, and other things. Some ancient people suspected the earth went on forever. They thought it might be a huge flat piece of land and sea with no end at all. But if there...
Okay, so just real quick, in my opinion, if it would be helpful to put a link in where you've got some ancient sources that can show us that that's actually what they thought, right? Because otherwise, that's just a story like in fourth grade, Christopher Columbus. Everybody thought that they would sail off. So Chris went out and proved them wrong. Okay, that's you got all that is a story.
Eratosthenes put sticks in the ground and proved the Earth was a sphere, or spinning or whatever.
Right.
Can I also point out that the line right there, on the land, it goes up and down. Like, I don't consider the sky meeting a house to be horizon. Is that the way everyone else sees it? Is that if it hits a house, it's horizon, and if it hits a tree, it's horizon, and if it hits the ground, it's horizon? Because that's not the way I thought it was. Only when the land seems to touch the sky.
Well, if let's say you're traveling across the plains and you've got nothing but Kansas plains, and then all of a sudden a cityscape comes up, and that cityscape in the distance touches the sky, that's the horizon. Right?
Okay. Huh. I guess, well, see, that's not the way I would have said it. No, I would have just said that's the city blocking the horizon, because you can't see the land apparently touch the sky. So it would be the city is blocking the horizon, not the city is the horizon. That's the way I would see it. But if everybody else has already moved past this and agrees that sky touching anything is horizon, that's fine with me. Yeah.
All right, carry on, Pete.
Yeah.
Well, the horizon is as far as you can see before the ground and the sky appear to merge due to angular resolution or diffraction through the lens of the eye. Not that they're actually meeting per se, it's just the limit of how far your eye can resolve two separate visual zones, namely the top of your vision from your eye level up and the bottom of your vision is a separate object, quote unquote, from your eye level down, merging into one object, the horizon line.
Right. No, I'm aware of that. What I was saying is, if you can't see that apparent thing, imagine you're standing right next to a house and you look up and you see the very edge of the roof and then the sky. Okay, because you're standing right next to the house and you're looking not quite straight up, but almost straight up, and you see the edge of the roof and the sky. I wouldn't consider that to be a horizon. I would consider that to be the houses in your way. You can't see the horizon. But if it's anything apparently touching the sky is horizon, that means when you're standing right next to the building and you look up and you see the roof and then sky after that, technically you're looking at a horizon then, because it's anything that touches the sky, or apparently touches the sky.
Technically, it could be called that, right? If you're looking over land, there's going to be undulations, hills, mountains, and now in this day and age, buildings and all this crap. But I think looking over water would be the best simple representation of how, like Lemon said, the apparent meeting to sky and ground, or surface.
Yeah, that would be the geographical horizon versus the horizon or whatever.
Yeah, because they never do touch. Exactly.
So if you have water out in front of you and there's a boat on it, is the boat part of the horizon then?
No,
Because
Yes.
I would
you
not
can't
say
see
so.
the water touch the sky. You see
Close
the
enough.
boat touch the sky. Not literally, but it apparently looks like the boat touches the sky, not the water. And then it goes back to the water. Like it would go water, and then it would go boat, and then back to water. So, like, are you saying that the boat suddenly becomes part of your horizon? Because that
If it's
doesn't.
close enough, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, but that to me again, that would be just quibbling, because, for instance, if you were nose to hull with the ship, then that just becomes what you said with the house. The house is in the way,
Right.
the ship's in the way. But if you're back far enough so that you do have an extension left or right of a horizon, and the boat just happens to be in the middle, I wouldn't I would say I can see the horizon, but I wouldn't necessarily think of qualifying the ship in any fashion.
That's yes. Yeah, I wouldn't think that. I would think that it would be better just to say that wherever the land, or in this case the water, the natural part of the earth seems to touch the sky, that should be the horizon. Because otherwise you could actually make anything the horizon as long as you make sure it's between you and wherever you normally would be able to see the land touch the sky. So I would say we should probably actually eliminate that altogether and say if there's a city out there miles away and it's in front of where, like, it's stopping you from seeing where the land looks like it touched the sky, then you're not seeing the horizon in that section. You're seeing a city and it's in the way of the horizon.
Bob, what do you think about this? And Lemon and Travis also. So if I'm on a land and I'm looking out, as long as I'm looking as level or horizontal as I can, that would be where the horizon is. So now, if there was Mount Everest in my way, and I had to look up to the top of Mount Everest and still see sky, surrounding Mount Everest, that wouldn't quite be a horizon because I had to move my vision right up. Knowing, like Bob's saying, that behind that mountain is actually what I'm getting at when I'm looking horizontal. Something like that, right? If I have to look down, which we never do. But
that might be something we want to discuss further. It's something we don't necessarily have to right now, but eventually maybe try and get that nailed down, because even that kind of adds a little bit of a wrench to what I said. Because I mean, Mount Everest would be natural, like just Earth apparently touching the sky. So like, can you consider a mountain part of horizon, or does it have to be you take it from whatever is considered the plane? Anything above that can't be horizon. It's blocking horizon. Yeah. So that's a discussion we should maybe have at some point to determine that or figure
Well,
that
it would
out.
be part of the geographical horizon, but eventually it would merge into the horizon beyond, where the top and bottom half of vision merge due to diffraction, angular resolution limit through the eye.
That's true. Lemon did just say something. He actually, you can find the geographical horizon if there's something blocking your way from the horizon. He said, right? That would be the geographical horizon, which is, which all the ballers call, Earth curve.
Huh.
Hey, so I'm not necessarily picking up what Lemon's dropping. What are you talking about with geographical horizon? What are you distinguishing?
Mountains in the way. On the globe, it would be the geographical horizon versus the hump of Earth curve, past which you can't see because the hump of Earth curve forms this huge Earth hump that's in the way, as opposed to a mountain or a tree line, or some sort of feature of the land sticking up out of the ball that's in the way.
Okay.
So the globe would say that the hump of Earth curvature is in the way. The flatties or whoever would say it's angular resolution or the diffraction limit or some sort of optical phenomenon.
And I'm not quite sure I ever looked down to see the top of Mount Everest either.
Nope, ramps up to the level of the eyes, like a flat plane would, due to perspective anyway. You look down a table, it's ramping up. You look down a hallway, it's ramping up. As far as we can see, flatter surfaces do that more than round ones.
So I'm actually going to try to see if I can construct a demonstration with some Fresnel lenses. I think they should be coming in the mail tomorrow, Thursday. But the whole magnification thing and the whole proximate looming is just this really fascinating aspect of this discussion that I think is going to be a game changer. But you know, if I can use two different lenses and produce a shortened proximate distance that then cuts off the valid demonstration of what we're talking about. Did I break up at all, or is that clear?
Yeah, you were cutting out a little bit for me. It sounds like you said you're going to get some lenses and set up a demonstration.
Well, the lenses would be a good way to look at this, but I think the thing that's missing in these refraction models is, diffraction limit and angular resolution, because it looks like the light is reaching the eye, just uninterpreted. And so in their paradigm, light travels forever unless it hits a hump of Earth curvature, a geographical hump, or some obstruction. And their refraction models lift the light over that obstruction. So they have a philosophy where light needs to be lifted over globe obstruction. They need to drop that philosophy and include the diffraction limit, the light that's reaching the eye over a flat plane, and uninterpreted. So until they include angular resolution and the diffraction limit in their refraction models, we have a big philosophy problem anyway, because they're just going to say light lifts over the globe and apply that to their models.
Exactly. Which that's all they do. That's all they have.
It's like they have the knowledge, but they haven't applied it back to the flat plane. They just kind of went with the globe and kind of kept it separate from, how could this work over, say, a flat plane? So sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board.
Well, let's think about too doing the orthographic. With Andrew Thomas Young, he'll show you an orthographic presentation that's not to scale, but he'll have an XY graph, and then he'll draw out what the rays are doing, what he thinks the rays are doing, right? So that's all I know that they say that they have math, but for right now, that's basically all they're doing. So all we have to do is take what Lemon just said, and what I'll say is, instead of diffraction, I'll say internal reflection, right? That there's something happening at some point, or even all along. It's just weird. Anyway, so at some point along the way, let me say it this way. How about this, right? So if I'm looking at the lighthouse and I'm in a boat at the dock at the lighthouse, I don't have any inferior mirage. So then I start to motor across the bay with my camera, and then I find out that at 2 miles, the mirage kicks in. So the medium from my location to the lighthouse is at just enough distance and just enough index in terms of whatever the hell's going on, where that result is going to start to show. And if I keep moving farther and farther away, that mirage is going to increase. So all you have to then do is then turn that at a 90-degree angle and then draw what those alleged rays are doing at 2 miles. Like they're getting sucked down into each other, so that parts of the information are not escaping that. Well, I'm calling black holes, right? It's just where this.
Okay, Travis just body slammed his own thought. What's going on, Bandsaw?
What do you mean?
I don't know. He just kind of went way off what we're talking about. I just want to introduce Bandsaw. That's all. I was hoping he'd show up. It's fine. We need a guy like Bandsaw on this.
What's going on, Bandsaw?
Hey guys.
You sound sleepy, dude. What are you doing?
Sorry?
You sound sleepy.
I just had a Scooby. What the fuck?
What the fuck is a Scooby? Nice. Yeah. So, did you understand what Travis said, or do I need a Scooby too? Because I had no idea what the hell Travis.
Well, I only just joined this conversation, but I've heard lenses, refraction, so maybe we can start from the beginning.
I mean, I'd be glad to say it again. Okay, so
go for it, Travis. I'm all ears. Like seriously.
Well,
before you go,
okay, go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to sleep, so
okay, thanks for hanging out, man. Sure. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pete.
Keep up that work, man.
Ja sitten jos täällä on jotakin suomalaisia kuuntelemassa, niin ottakaa muuhun yhteyttä. Olisi mukava keskustella.
Okay, was that for anybody here?
I only speak freedom.
10-4, little buddy.
I was just trying to see if there's any Finnish people listening to the show.
Okay.
Trying to see if anybody would take contact to me.
Oh, okay. Well, I apologize. I was like, did he forget to mute himself?
All right, well, I'm gonna go now. See you.
All right, thanks.
I could have sworn that was Sudanese, not Finnish. But anyway.
Bad.
Now, here's a question though. I heard you talking light, right? And these light particles coming into our eyes. Did I hear something along those lines?
Yeah, that would have been Lemon, I think, but you know.
Okay. So are you suggesting Lemon, if Lemon's still here? I don't know, I can't see. But that we see
you have no particles coming in your eye, you can't see.
Because these light particles are coming into my eyes. That's how I see the image is coming into my eye via a light particle. Is that how it happens?
I don't know if I'd go with that. They talk about particles because they're math geeks and they need a unit to mathematically
exactly
for their math. I don't know if it actually exists as a photon, but going away from that, light needs to be spaced far enough apart on the sensor of your eye so that it is not too crowded on one sensor and you get a wash. When the two light rays coming from the top and bottom of the object coming up out of the flat plane are too close together, you don't get a 2D object from two separate light rays, whatever they are. You get one light ray, which would be the horizon, a merged, unresolved image with no 2D shape. So angular resolution says light's coming into your eye, but at the horizon, it is uninterpreted. It is a merged, washed out mess.
But they need to nerd math the shit out of it, so they call it particles.
I get that, though, right? I get that. But does that particle that comes into my eye contain the image that I'm seeing?
That's a good point. We're still trying to figure out what light even is. I would go with that, yes, that light carries information. That it's not just particles that are emitted from something per se. I'm saying that the light package of information can come from the top, it can come from the bottom, it can come from any part of the object, and it just needs to hit the sensor of your eye and be interpreted. But I'd go with the slightly concept of what light is.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, sorry. This is a very interesting point. All right. Now, that's a lot of information in one little particle that's hitting my eye, right? A lot of information, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't we just see something because it's lit up?
There's different theories even about how light and optics work, but I would go with, the current theory implies that a particle comes from the top part of the object. All you're going to see is the top part of the object with that particle coming from the top part of the object. I would probably go even a bit more woo than that and say any part of the object can probably give you an image on the object that needs to be interpreted by the eye, as long as it's not coming in at too narrow of
Yeah,
an
but
angle.
Lemon,
It's basically the
Lemon,
same thing, but I
well,
think you
don't
can
Lemon,
get
believe
light
that answer,
information.
Kevin.
Any part
Lemon.
of the
if
object, get the whole
if
Hold
object.
on, guys.
Part.
Hold on. We got people
we
talking.
really do, that's
Hold
right.
on.
If it's dead dark, Lemon, dead dark, right? No light coming from anywhere, okay? And I have a torch, right? And I put that torch right behind me, right? And I turn it on, and those light particles go from behind me straight in front of me. And then all of a sudden, I can now see a tree, right? Do I not just see that tree because it's now lit up, or has something bounced off?
My contribution to this, Lemon, might be saying that instead of light being information, what if we are the information, right?
Well, going back to the tree thing, that goes into another dichotomy, another split in how to think about this light thing. Is the tree giving off its own lit energy from getting energy from the torch and giving off illumination of its own, and or are these particles from the torch going from the torch, hitting the tree, and just coming to the eye that way, or some combination? This stuff can get very technical.
I tend
There is
to.
energy in art. If you look into Ottic energy from the 16th century, 16th century, 17th century, they were getting light from the dark.
Dark light.
Go, Travis, go.
Yeah, I tend to agree with what you're saying, Bansal. But my question is, pinhole cameras don't have lenses, but they can project the image onto the back screen of the device that you create, right? So any kid can do a science fair project where he creates a pinhole projector and he has the pinhole covered up, and you step into the box and you turn around to face the back, and he takes that cover off, and all of a sudden you see on that back wall what's in front of the pinhole camera, but there's no lens.
Where's the light source coming from?
Well, okay, but if you think about what Bandsaw and I think, all that when the light comes in, all you would see is the back of the box. You wouldn't see an image on the back of the box. You just see the back of the box. But what I'm saying that the pinhole camera does is it actually projects what's out there to the back of the box.
I'll give you that.
And that blows my mind. That because I'm like 99%. Yeah, we see the thing because it's got light on it. Nothing's coming to my eye. And then you get the pinhole thing. I'm like, well, okay, all
right. Well, that would suggest there is some kind of information that is traveling through those particles, wouldn't it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Or Travis, how do you know what's being projected on the receptor side of the box? How do you know that? You can't look through the pinhole.
Well, I've never experienced it. I watched it in a movie, and then I talked to Mark Doxey, who has created his own pinhole camera.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, you didn't hear my question.
Oh.
How do you or we or Mark Doxey know what's being projected on the back side of that receptor, whatever, the other side of the pinhole camera, right? The projection side that's upside down. How do we know what's being projected there?
I'm sorry if I'm not getting it. So look, if I'm the kid that makes the contraption, and I set up the booth in front of a scene then when I go in, I'm going to check and make sure it works before I let everybody in. Otherwise, I'm going to look the fool.
Well,
so
okay,
I go in,
okay. So you physically have to go in.
Yeah.
To that dark booth.
Right.
And yeah. So you are the one that has to see the light on the back of the booth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise,
that pinhole camera, though, that surface that the image is projected onto, reflected onto, whatever you want to call it, is a white surface, yeah?
I don't know. I can't remember how it's constructed. Yeah. I don't know.
Like what happens if you used a non-reflective surface? What would happen then? Maybe because
back your claim, Travis.
No. It's not a claim.
No,
just joking. Come
on. But maybe because there's some sort of reflectivity going on there because of the color of the walls, that might add to some sort of image projection of some sort.
Just real quick, what came to my mind is because there's no lens focus or zoom in, is it going to project an image at no matter what the distance? Or do I have to be so close to that thing that is where like what Lemon's talking about, there's a certain amount of information available, right? So we're talking about aperture size. The pinhole, it's a prick. It's just a tiny little pinhole.
Yeah, that's right.
And so then you have to be a certain distance away, because if you move too far away, all you're going to do is get light.
Well, I don't think you could set one up at the Chesapeake Bay and take an image of the island across the shoreways there. I don't think that's going to work with a pinhole camera.
Right.
Something
yeah,
tells
exactly.
me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right.
But
I could be wrong. I generally aren't. But
right.
I could.
Generally, we could always be wrong. And at the same time, if I'm standing, the only way to know what's coming through that pinhole is to go into that secret little booth and peek your head in there, right?
Yes.
And what that means, though, is there's light coming in from somewhere. It's projecting something off of like Bandsaw said, maybe that screen is reflective of some sort or whatever it must be. And we are the information, I interpret what I see. It's not the light tells me what I see. I'm going to have to look into this pinhole camera thing just because it could work either way. Like Lemon said, it's could get deep into philosophy and shit about how light works. So
it makes you think a bit, but it shouldn't be keep the philosophy out of it. Let's keep the science happening. Fuck the philosophy.
Keep it in science.
Exactly. Like it's too, like it has its place, but it's very wishy-washy. It's very uncertain philosophy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, stand up and back your claims. You got to claim, back it. Don't be
Well, I mean, the thing is, there are some claims we can back up, and sometimes science just goes with a just-so story that can't really be backed up. It's a just-so story that gives them some way to explain what's going on that may or may not be directly proven. So you have to test stuff like that indirectly.
And the reason they do that, Lemon, is because they guarantee that 99% of the population is not going to go test it, right? So when the story is told by a dude in a white coat, here you go, that's the answer, right? Because
how do you test stuff like quantum foam?
You need
like how do you test it? Like there are so many outs, really, with coming up with some woo, right? That you really have to have. You don't have to have any scientific backing whatsoever. You can just put anything out there, but because you can't quite reach it.
How do you
you can't test it.
How,
like you can't prove it either way.
Yeah. How do you even test hot air balloons when every time you get up to 120,000 feet, you get shot down? You know?
Well, that just goes to show how stuff is only proven in a framework that you unquestioningly accept without proving the framework directly. How do you prove that a river flows? You just look at it, basically, and accept that the river flows. How do you prove that when you drop a rock in a pond, it makes a puddle? You just show it. And that's why they said when we're looking at these diffraction patterns of light, they look like a drop in the middle of a pond. There's ripples there. That's why they went with the ether. That's why they said space is like a sea, a flowing substance based off of stuff like that.
Yeah, everything can be modeled back down to what we see in nature. All their philosophies, right?
How do we prove nature? After a while, you just accept it as the framework that you go with and just go from there. Now you can test it indirectly, but directly, not all the time.
Whirlpool, right? A whirlpool, right?
Yeah.
Which is natural. Is a black hole, right? Because, it looks exactly the same.
Yeah. That's why I go with the waters above. But, if they're trying to go away from, say, a biblical framework, they're going to be like, it's just a black hole in the vacuum of space. Unintuitive, unnatural.
Dark matter is your reflection in water, right? When you look over the pond. Well, I have mass. That should have mass. That has to have mass. There's dark matter, right? Your reflection now has mass. It's called dark matter.
But the good thing with a river, right, or a pebble in a pond, or a whirlpool, right? You can go and show it to me. You can go and see. You can go and touch these things. How do you do it with quantum foam?
Well, that's why science has a lot of philosophy. It uses the stuff that we can see and test and tries to make guesses and speculation about what we can't see and directly test. Some of it makes sense, some of it not so much.
Oh, not so much. I'm going to agree there.
That's the thing about the quantum, mechanics that gets so crazy because you can't observe everything. It's too small.
Right,
what you're seeing isn't quite going with what you normally would expect based off of the way that you've been educated about Newton or what you see every day. The quantum mechanical realm gets very metaphysical and very theoretical in some cases.
Yeah,
we
that's
can't get very
and so all we can do is just
it's only theory. There's nothing behind any of that stuff. It's only theory.
That's why we have to test it for consistency using intuition. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to test.
We don't have to test it at all. We can say,
How do you
that's retarded bullcrap, and then ignore it.
Test quantum foam. How do you intuitively do it?
You'd have to test it indirectly.
Like it's not like that little foamy stuff that you see on the side of a river. You can go up and
that's nonsense,
right? You can pick a scoop of that up, right? You can
saying
test
that you can test something indirectly, like that's nonsense.
Yeah,
exactly. It is.
So how would we test foam in real life? We try to pick it up, or we try to see the stuff that the foam came from. Can we do anything like that?
How do we test a real thing that is actually existing in reality? We interact with it in reality. That's how you test it. A thing that isn't in reality isn't something you can test. It's nonsense. It's pretend land. It's imaginary, not real. You don't just make up new rules on how you're going to test a thing that isn't real. You just say, oh, that's not real, so we don't need to test it. We can ignore it because it's not real.
Well, how do you test whether somebody, lived or died? If you're saying this person
You
died,
don't.
okay,
You don't
then you test
that.
it indirectly. You
can't
can
test
test it
that.
directly by seeing their body, feeling the
No.
cold, clean
No, you
skin.
can't.
Or you can
No, you
test it
can't.
Well,
indirectly
lemon,
by
you can take
saying,
before
okay,
and
do they
after.
have a
Oh my
big
goodness. You're
history?
not testing.
Have they gone to work? Have they been seen
No.
with their friends?
Lemon,
That's
Are the
not
effects that could
testing.
come from them existing,
lemon, you can,
leading to them being alive or dead? So we
Okay.
can test this
Listen.
indirectly or
Listen.
directly.
but you
Okay.
can take
No,
it
you
before and
can't.
after.
Listen.
Right?
Let's
You
say
can
you.
take it
Let's say
before
you
and
see their
after lemon,
body.
right?
Now, how do you go from there? There's a body there in front of you to what the body did at some other time. How do you do that?
Right. Because you were asking
Can't.
about
So
testing
you
quantum
can't test
foam
it.
as an existing thing. Yeah.
End of story. You can't test it. It's done.
Testing usually involves like a before or a standard or a base, right? And then the effect or the where you end up, right? So it has to be two tests. You can't just test one thing and then presume the previous. Can you?
Hey guys, I'm at a stop and I'm gonna eat my dinner, so I'm not gonna be active for a little bit.
Okie doke.
Enjoy your ham and cheese sandwich.
All right, thanks.
Enjoy your truck stop burrito.
Okay. You did have to one up me, didn't you?
I love truck stop burritos. That's what I said.
Okay.
So, Bansa, I heard a portion of your country is going into maybe tier 4 because of the new variants, right?
And all this crazy stuff, right? A new bylaw, right? You can no longer chant or sing in public.
That's what I heard. You told me that.
Really?
It's
One
like,
of the new
what
rules.
No longer chant
It's-
or sing in public?
One of the
Why?
new rules. Yeah. Go ahead and say
Well, because it's a super spreader action.
Listen.
Right
Listen, man,
now.
I know that you probably,
Li-
maybe you don't want to hear this. Maybe you don't like this idea. Maybe it sounds far-fetched and crazy. You guys need to kill the people that are in your government. You need to end their lives. Okay? You need a revolution badly. That's not okay for them to say you can't sing. That's not okay.
Pretty hardcore. A revolution. What sort of barbaric?
The people that are saying that you, a human being, are not allowed to sing, those people deserve death. They need to die.
Yes, well, I'm not gonna. I can't agree or disagree, right? Because of the people that are listening to this conversation.
Okay, all right. I hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Instead of outright
like
murder.
we
Bansa,
have
why don't you just take a sledgehammer and go to the state buildings and take your bricks back, right? Just take all the bricks back, the ones you paid for.
That could be considered,
take 'em back.
right? Defacing public property.
It's yours, though. You paid for part of it. So only take yours. I'll take your neighbors. Yeah.
Which brick can I take?
Well, they're taking your voice. I mean, so what's the difference?
I'll take the keystone.
Mm-hmm.
Bring that puppy down. Bring that puppy down. Boom. Cop that. But yes, no singing and chanting. Like, that's insane. You know why they've done it though, right? This is their sly way, all right, of being able to shut protests down too.
Yeah.
Boom. Right? So, because this bylaw that they're bringing in, right, especially for COVID, do you think it's going to be taken out at any stage? No, it's there for good.
No, you're exactly right. So, they couldn't get over the no protest, no rioting thing because people would be like, well, I'm just standing, right? I'm just here, right? And they can't make a law against no standing, like on the sidewalk, even though they tried. Now it's like if you say anything, because singing is just your voice, right? So anything
Exactly.
you say could be called
Exactly.
singing, right?
That's right.
And in the what do you call that? The irony of it, all they do is sit there and chant on the news. These people, these fucking
Wow.
authorities, they just
says
sit
that
there
if you're
and
happy,
chant
sing.
the same rhetoric over and over and
Come
over.
on.
Right?
They're
But
kind
you
of
get
you got to give it to them, though. They're kind of catchy tunes. I can see why so many people like them.
I know people love it, man.
I know. I can see it's like on the top 10 charts. Crazy.
My
But
top 10
Give me
feeds,
some Three Dog Night any day.
my top 10 feeds now are news channels. I've never subscribed to one, right? I'm subscribed to Jose. He's like 30th down on the list, you know? I have to get through all these fucking news channels before I can even get to anything that I've subscribed to before, and I forgot all the cool shit I've subscribed to about plumbing and building engines and lathe work and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
Forgot about those guys.
Yeah. You do. They get lost down the bottom.
Did you hear the good news though, Banza?
Where's their good news?
Well, the variant.
Please tell me.
The variant virus that's now just massively spreading around their globe, right? I mean, it's just massively spreading. Right? It's not as deadly as the original, right? It's not as deadly as the original.
It's
not as
mutated
deadly as the
into a
original.
more friendly. It's a more friendly virus.
Well, what they're saying is it's not as deadly as old age, which is good because old age is pretty deadly, you know.
Well, eventually,
when you get old,
eventually,
I mean that's pretty deadly.
Yeah, it's a bullet. Pretty much everyone can't outrun that one.
But what they're
At some
saying
stage,
this one is not as deadly as old age, which is good. Because old age will kill you. I mean that's a bad one. You don't want to.
That's a certainty. That's a certainty.
You don't want to catch that disease.
Certainty, right?
Yeah.
But this ain't quite. So you actually live longer. If you get the COVIDs, right? I actually saw a graph on that.
It's more transmissible, but it's not as deadly as being old. So that's good.
That's because when you get the COVIDs, right, they put you in ICU, iron lung and whatnot. Like your lungs are already fucked at that age anyway, right? So any sort of help breathing is going to prolong your life a little bit.
Not too much going to help you at old age. Exactly.
Exactly.
So at least the variant they're saying is less lethal than dying from old age. So that's good. Yeah, I think that's a great thing. But it's more transmissible. See, so people are going to be getting older and older, which is good. But they won't die. So that's.
The more I think of it, the more I think that the pinhole camera is just a reflection.
It is.
Because of the surface. Yeah, because of the surface. Now I've thought about it for 5 seconds. All right, we can put that one to bed. So I still just think we see stuff because it's lit up. Right? Not because shit is travelling. We just see an image.
Well, Benza, I'd refer you to your bucket of light argument, right? So if the pinhole camera was actually transferring particles or anything, I should be able to
You should be able to weigh it.
Measure it, weigh it, something, right?
You should be able to weigh it pre and post image. Right? Pre and post image. Right? You should be able to read, detect a slight quantum foamish
diffusion,
difference.
Any diffusion went on, any refraction, any particles that were lost. you know, go track them down, be like, hey, yo,
Yeah.
come back here, get back on the picture.
And whenever we're doing any of these calculations with refraction and bloody whatever other equations there are, Travis would know about all the light equations out there, right? But they're all pretty much, right, with the light moving towards us, like that image being loomed down towards us or risen up, like towards us, right? It's never like what we see, like we're looking through all that atmosphere, all those little water particles, which individually make up little lenses themselves. Anyway, thus the clarity difference the further away you get. But yeah, you're only just looking at something that's lit up way, way, way in the distance. That's it. It's simple as that.
I think the same as you. When I open my eye,
it sounds too simplistic.
I gather
that you just see it. Like really, it does.
I'm not being shot. You know, if I close my eyes, there's not like all these images just bouncing off my eyelids. You know, like, oh, open your eyes, right? You should see a mountain, right? When I open my eye, I see the mountain because I get to see it. It goes from me to it, not the mountain was in my eyelid when my eyes were closed.
No. Yeah. But I'm going to set up a little camera where I move to and take an image every single day from the same spot.
Are you
Looking out
moved
across
in?
at the island.
You moved in now?
No. 7 weeks, man. 7 weeks.
Okay.
And I've got about a 13-kilometre view to the island across the waterways there.
That'd be nice.
Right from the porch. Boom.
Ranty was hawking out the P1000, I think. I don't know if you were on the list or not. But...
No, I won't be on the list. What's he doing? Giving it away?
Is giving it away considered hawking it? I'm not sure that's how that works.
When I say hawking out, I mean giving it away, right? That's where Ranty said, look, it was paid for by supporters, you know, Patreon, all that shit. So he's going to give it away to somebody that he thinks can use it, will use it, not like Arwen, you know, with the P900.
Oh god!
But somebody
why is he not keeping his camera?
What's that?
I thought he was the one using his camera, his P1000.
He's in
doing other stuff, I think, maybe.
He's in tier 4 lockdown. He can't go to the beach anymore.
Is he really like in a lockdown like that?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's only for 6 weeks.
You know.
Yeah. It's only for 6 weeks, I bet. Yep.
Tax season is supposed to start in the next several weeks, and I'm wondering if like H&R Block, if they're mistaken how many people they're going to get to come into their office to have taxes done.
What did you say? Did you say theft season? What? What did you say?
I said tax season.
Theft season.
Tax season. But it doesn't matter to me. It's not like your money goes to me, so.
You know, it's funny, Bob. I'm down in Texas here, and we haven't been on any lockdowns or anything, but businesses have been closed down, and schools are shut down.
Forcefully or willingly?
Whatever those people think. I don't agree with.
No. I mean, like, did people be like, we're going to close down our business for the good of the people, or was like government's like, You're not in business anymore.
I would have to, you're not in business. You cannot open your doors.
Okay.
Yeah. Without following these mandates.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
No, I just wanted to know whose decision that was when you said businesses have been closing.
It was the governor.
Okay.
Greg Abbott. Yeah, Greg Abbott. In the cities, Dallas, Houston, Amarillo, Austin, San Antonio, all the bigger cities. I'm out in the country, so we don't really follow that, but and schools were shut down for about 8 months, and then they came back, and now they're closing down again because remember, Texas was a big hot spot. I don't know if you knew that, but they tell each state people a different score how they're Georgia might be
ours were closed down for a while, and then they started back up, and I don't know
now
if they're
here's
still
the thing
going
though,
now
you're talking about theft taxes, right? They raised property taxes.
Did they?
So I want to see how all the people react. If these people who are out of jobs and out of limited in, let's say, their employment abilities, stuff like that, they still have to pay their property tax to support schools that aren't open. To support roads that aren't being fixed because there's the virus, like all this shit, right?
Isn't there like a moratorium on like kicking people out of their houses and stuff though? I thought that was a thing that they did.
Yeah, that's been talked about, but if you don't pay rent, you don't pay rent, and the banks are being subsidized by $2 trillion,
Right. No,
relief,
I'm sure the government's giving them plenty of money.
So we just haven't seen it yet.
We need to get people some money because we're in a pandemic, and then it's like $3 trillion goes to the banks and the car sellers and everything, and there's like $10 billion left over or whatever for sending people direct checks.
Yeah. Let's divvy up against the peasants, so they'll feel happy and vote for us again. Yeah. So you're up in where you at, Bob? Minnesota,
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, up in there. So you've heard about the $600 stimulus payout to families? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I read about it and stuff. Yeah.
It's a $900 billion spending bill, right?
Right.
900,
yeah, something like
$900
the 918
billion.
or something.
$900 billion. And I don't know if you looked into this at all, but only $3 billion, if that, is allocated to that 600, for the people. Only 3 out of 900.
Wait, are you sure? I thought it was like I thought 180 of it was 180 billion or something was.
Well, take 300 million.
Oh, well, I guess. Yeah, because even if they gave it to everybody in the United States, no, your math's wrong because that would be times 10. You need to times it by 100, so it has to be at least like 30. Okay, so times 3 would be 900 million, and then you got to times it by 10, so like 90 million or so. If you're taking 300 million, so it has to be at least 90 million or 90 billion. I mean, because you got to go times 3 and then times 100 or whatever. So we know. Do you? Is it 300? Yeah, because you got to have the 100 in there because it would be times 3 then times 100 because it's 300. So, or no, it's not 300. It's 600. So yeah, no, 180 sounds right because you have to go times.
Oh my God, I don't believe anything now.
6. You got to go times 6 and then times 100 because it's 600. 100 times 6 is 600, and you got to take 300 million times 600, and that would be the 180 billion. So I was right. It's about 180 billion dollars that it has to be. But that's if they're giving 300 million people a check, which they might not be. Like, not all 300 million would necessarily qualify for all $600. I don't know, but I doubt there's that many people that would qualify for it. That's almost the entirety of the United States, and I'm guessing there's plenty of people that are over $75,000 a year income. Or maybe there's not. Maybe I just think there is. Sweet niblets. Maybe there's just not that many people that are above that.
What did you just say? Sweet what?
Niblets. Sweet niblets.
Sweet niblets. Is that a euphemism up in Wisconsin?
No,
Sorry,
that is
I got a phone call.
something
Sorry
I
about
got from a Disney Channel show called Hannah Montana, and
Wow.
that's what she would say. She would say, "Sweet, sweet niblets."
Okay.
Roxy like a puma.
Is that Hannah Montana too?
A different character, but same show. Yeah.
Okay, please tell me you had daughters.
Like, I have daughters currently, but that's not. I haven't watched Hannah Montana, I don't think, at all with them. It was when I was younger that I saw Hannah Montana.
Okay.
I don't think Hannah Montana's been on. I guess unless they're doing reruns, but I think it ended like years and years ago. I would guess, because it was Miley Cyrus who played Hannah Montana.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty sure. So I think she's been out of that for a good long time. But it seems to happen with Disney stars. She went on to be this like crazy, super sexualized character.
Hey, Bob, you're right. My math's not great. If there's 300 million Americans,
He cut out. I'm not hearing you if you're talking.
Yeah, you cut out, Aaron.
It just went like
Can't hear
quiet,
you.
radio silent. Hello, Aaron?
He's still
Did you
in
fall
the
off
group,
the
but
bottom of the globe, buddy?
I am a little bit surprised that the numbers are down. I would have thought that a lot of people from Brandon would have just been over watching.
Are you streaming any of this to YouTube, or are you just like hanging out?
No, it's on YouTube.
Oh, it is. Okay, I didn't think it was going out to anything. Are you on a different channel? I checked Ranty's channel and it wasn't up on Ranty's. So you doing it from your own channel or something?
Yeah, it's on my channel, right?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I just figured I would see how that would go. I have been trying to figure out how to do remote streaming, because when I was doing a lot of my shots in California, I wanted to stream, but as soon as I would leave my base, like if I was trying it with Zoom or Hangouts, as soon as I got out of range, it would shut down the entire show. Like it would, like, because I was using my phone. I was using my phone and my PC, and the program, I think, was somehow interpreting the fact that my phone was moving away from as the PC, like losing a signal or losing bandwidth or something like that, to where it would shut down. But Ali B came across this
So it wasn't as
program.
soon as you started streaming, it was like as you were moving away?
Right. So look, I signed in. I started my stream. I went live. I signed in on Hangouts so that would be the social platform. And then I signed in on Hangouts in a different account so that I could be in both. I needed one active for the stream, and then I needed my sock account so that I could join the panel. Well,
Okay.
as soon as I could do that in the room that I was in. I could do that. I could join as the sock, no problem. But as soon as I moved out of range, the stream would shut down.
Huh.
Like it wouldn't stay active, even though, quote unquote, my host site, the desktop, was the you know what I mean? That
Yeah,
didn't
like
go
that
anywhere.
was where it was going out from or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Like that. What the heck?
So anyway, yeah. So Ali B just showed up. Shout out to Ali B because he turned me on to. Let me pull up this. It's called Team Viewer. So you can sync with your PC. You download the app for your PC. You download it for your phone, and then they talk to each other with a code, and then I can start the stream, and then when I'm out on the road, I can access my desktop like it's a touch screen.
Yeah. There's I think multiple programs. I think there's something called like LogMeIn, Hamachi, and I think there's quite a like more than just that. I think there's a number of programs that let you do stuff like that, where you log in on the device and then it's like, okay, here's your desktop streaming to you over the interwebs.
Yeah. Right. So when I first tried it, I walked away from. I did the same thing, right? So I logged everything in, logged into my phone, and then I walked down to the Chesapeake Bay where I was going to shoot. But as soon as I got like 3 minutes away, it disconnected me. So I thought it was just the same problem. Then for some reason today, I thought, you know what? I'm going to try to sign in again after I get kicked. And once I did that, I was able to work the way it was supposed to. Yeah.
Huh.
So I'm excited about that because I'm going to be going to California again in January, and I'll be able to do some live streaming.
Why would you ever go to California?
That's where the Channel Islands are. That's where the Channel Islands are, man. So. All right, I got to go check on something.
All right.
Sorry about that. Got a couple phone calls.
Oh, is that why you like suddenly went quiet or something? Because you were like in the middle of trying to say something to me, and then you went all quiet. And it's like, dude, I don't know, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I got.
I don't remember even what you were saying. Do you remember what you were talking about?
We were talking about the stimulus, right? The 600 with 300 million.
Oh, right, yeah. You're gonna say something
right.
about the math.
It's more than 2 billion. It would be about roughly 250 billion if all 300 million Americans got $600, right? You know.
Yeah, if 300 million people got exactly $600, like exactly 300 million people got exactly $600, then it would be $180 billion.
180. Sure. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. And
but even so, like that's still like less than a third of the entire bill is going to like just regular citizen.
Yeah.
Like
$900.
That's still kind of ridiculous.
Spending
okay.
Bill. Yeah. Where the rest is that fucking money going?
Well, I'm guessing they'll say things like small businesses and essential businesses and this and that and the other thing or whatever.
Did you the first spending bill when Trump signed it? What was it, a couple years last year or whatever, right?
The CARES Act, is that one?
The CARES Act. It was what, $6 trillion? $6 trillion.
That one I think wasn't that one like 3.3 or 2.
Yeah, but it added
2.2?
up to 6 trillion. It added up to 6 trillion. If you can double check that. Now, that spending bill was 350 pages. Okay, the total bill, so the president could read it and sign off on it. Guess how many pages this one is? For 900 billion.
I haven't seen it.
5,500 pages.
What?
Yeah.
Ow.
And they gave Congress 2 hours to read it. Right?
That doesn't like what
Dude,
like what the
it
crap
doesn't
could they
make
have
sense, bro.
what they
It
that's
doesn't.
just they just like type gibberish for like 5,500 or 5,499 pages,
No,
and then
not
like
just
one
gibberish.
page
That's
of
where all the
okay,
money's
here's where the
going,
money's
right?
going.
Yeah, that's right. And they gave Congress 2 hours to read it before the vote. Right. That's why certain even
that
Democratic
seems
voters,
suspicious if
Republican
that's
voters
true.
didn't even vote. Yeah, they were just like, we can't vote because we didn't even read it. And of course, the House leaders were like, well, you have to vote so so that you can read it. Like, what the fuck? You have to vote for it so you can find out what's in it, man. Yeah. And I guess it was voted for. I don't know. I don't follow politics that much. I just get my daily scoop from, folks that actually look into it. And they're just like, dude, it's 5,500 fucking pages to give them 2 hours to read it. And
that seems ridiculous.
And they call it what? The COVID Relief Act, right? The COVID Relief Act.
Is that what it is?
Right, something like that, yeah. And all the mainstream media touts is like, you're gonna get $600. Everyone's gonna get $600. Okay, sweet. So me and Bob are over here just doing a little bit of math. That's only like, even if it was 200 billion out of 900 billion, where the fuck is the other $250,000 $250 million going? Right?
Yeah, more than 3/4 of it is still going somewhere else. Like what the crap?
Mm-hmm. And guess who pays for that? I hope none of us. I'm not going to pay for it. It went into increased police force, right? Oh, the police need, tanks now, and local police need tanks. They need, that's what it goes for. It's just to arm up.
You're going to deny your police force tanks?
I mean, depends where they get.
Every day they're putting their life on the line. All right, they're going to the neighborhoods that you don't want to be in, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on.
The most dangerous job in the
They're
world.
risking it all so you can be safe.
Yeah. That's why every time I
you
call
to get back in your house before you accidentally interact with another human being.
Yeah, and that's why every time I call them, they're about 25 minutes out because it's so dangerous, right?
Well, you should have called them earlier.
Yeah.
So be on time.
Why didn't you predict the future and know that the guy was going to be there to rob you earlier?
Take some responsibility yourself.
They must have been preventing crime somewhere else, just not in my area. Yeah, that's what they were doing. They're preventing crime somewhere else.
You didn't call them, right? You had to let them know, right? Possibly.
One of my neighbors, his name's John. He's about my age. He's a policeman, right? But he works for the police department. But he's an investigator, right? He's not a beat cop. So I kind of like that aspect of John. He's a cool guy, actually. We'd all like him, because I like kind of investigating crimes. Travis loves it. We all kind of like looking into all these, those shows about, detective, insider, whatever, right? That's kind of cool. That's what he does, I see him speeding up and down the road all the time. He doesn't give a fuck about, just like me, speeding up and down the road. He doesn't care either. It's those beat cops, dude, that just don't know anything. They're sent out there as a troop, and they come in 300 hot to a 20-person group just to surround people and start barking orders like they even know what the law is, and that's what needs to end.
Good luck with that.
Mm-hmm. We should all get our high-vis vests on and just go out, and just we can buy all the same shit they have on because they buy it from China, right? We can order it off fucking Alibaba. Just we could all look like cops. Then they won't know who to attack or who to yell at. You just have to look like them. See, that's the reason why they yell at us.
Oh man,
The reason why they wear uniforms.
Everybody in the city just gets one of these super cheap cop suits, so everyone looks like a cop when everyone shows up. Just
exactly
this huge. Oh man.
Exactly. The only reason they pick on us is because we look normal, right? We look normal.
That's the opposite of V for Vendetta, then, right? We all dress like the opposing.
It is, but if they have no one to yell at, no one to grab, what are they going to do? Then their power is minimized, right?
A gun still gives you a pretty good chunk of power. Kind of what a gun does.
Yeah, but they don't know who they're pointing it at or shooting it at, right? Yeah. They can yell and bark orders to a guy that looks just like them in their high vis vest, and we can wear fake security belts and all the pants they wear, right? We can look like that, and as long as we don't speak back like "fuck you," right? We could even turn the same way they turn, and we'll be with them, and then we'll end up all in a brick wall because there won't be anybody there, right? And these cops will just be mingled in between us and have no idea who's who and what's what. What is that called? There's something to that, right? When you chameleon or something, when you join your enemy, kind of like that.
I don't know. I don't know if that's got a term
Special
for it or
word.
not.
I mean,
Trojan horse is the only thing
I guess.
In my mind.
Yeah, Trojan horse, infiltrate, blend in, like.
Yeah.
Spy. Covert agent. Double agent. There you go. Double agent.
Could be, but double agent, I think, is more. Isn't that more like undercover, where you're gonna go full dress, just full right out there, right?
Oh, that's impersonating. If I'm understanding you, like you mean impersonate.
Well, absolutely. Get 300 people impersonating. Cops won't know who's who.
Oops, excuse me. Sorry about that. I burped with the mic open.
Nah, that's okay. I do it.
I thought it was the truck horn.
Burps happen.
Oh, there's the traitor. There he is.
What did he traitorize?
He went to Cleary's show before he came over here.
Oh man, get out of here!
Jean
Get out of here! I don't even want to smell it on you. No.
I'm a double notch spy.
He's the double agent. I found him.
What's up, guys? What are you guys talking about?
Nothing now. We're just talking about government, politics, and police and whatnot.
And light.
Just whatever.
Right.
I wanted to ask you, Montreal. I heard Ontario's possibly your authorities, those alleged authorities, are talking about possibly a lockdown, 3-week lockdown. Have you heard anything about that?
Oh, there's no possible. It's happening. I know it's happening here in Quebec, where I am, where the
Is it
province
really?
just adjacent. Oh yeah. Everything is locked down completely
Man,
for
What
for
the
3 weeks.
over here in the United States, we don't seem to be in like lockdown. It's a lot of people like being like, we encourage you not to get together, and we encourage you not to eat outside, and we like lots of we encourage you. And I don't know
Yeah.
if that's because they know that we have guns or if there's something else, but like we don't seem to be in full lockdown or anything
They
yet.
haven't called it yet. Yeah, Bob. They haven't called it yet where we need lockdown in the United States, and because I don't think they can.
Well, here there's one exception for Christmas and New Year's. Only if you live alone and you have family, you're allowed to visit somebody.
Huh.
But there's no Christmas parties allowed. There's no New Year's. That's the only exception.
And this is a new thing, right? Or within the last week,
Yeah, this happened. They announced it, I think, a week ago. Yeah, around there.
I think
Yeah.
there has been in
Yeah.
Michigan and or California some lockdowns and some like you can't do your holiday stuff kind of things, but I don't live in Michigan or in California, and it hasn't seemed to be like that extreme yet in Wisconsin. There's been some stupid stuff, but from what I understand, California is like a bastion of like government overreach and
Yeah,
stupidity.
it's
So
super populated. All the controllable population lives within certain centers, so it's kind of easy to, at least say that. I don't know about enforce it, but at least say that, and people will follow it because that's how dumb they are. Not you, Montreal. Like you're not dumb, but
Yeah, look,
to-
it's obvious what they're trying to do here. They're trying to kill the middle class, right?
Yep.
Am I wrong in saying that?
That's what's happening.
Yep.
sounds like a smaller goal that would be used to maybe reach a larger goal.
Yeah, I had one of 3 goals. I said the elimination of paper money and forced vaccinations. That's what I said months ago. So
Oh, speaking of vaccinations,
yeah.
and I was thinking about bringing this up anyway. I was watching Tucker Carlson the other night, and he got on there about vaccinations and talking about how some people are arguing that they shouldn't give it to people that are over 65 first, because there's that sector of the community or whatever tends to be white people that live over the age of 65. Okay, and it seemed like his angle was basically, oh well, that's racist to not give the old people the vaccination just because they tend to be white people. And it's like, okay, yeah, you could take it that way, or you could look at it another way. Maybe the people that are pushing the vaccination really want to hurt black people, so they're going to claim they're being nice and try to not give it to white people because they're being nice to the black people, when really that's what they wanted to begin with, was to get all the black people to take the vaccination.
They want us all to take it. Black, white, green, blue, whatever. Everybody.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm sure. They want us all under the thumb. Of that, I'm sure.
don't they spend aren't there certain like organizations and groups that spend a whole lot of time trying to give people in Africa vaccinations?
Yeah, good point.
Like it seems to me like maybe there's
the Bill and
some
Melinda
sort of
Gates
thing going on where
Foundation.
they want
like
to
that?
specifically give black people vaccinations. That seems to be the case.
Are
Well,
your
look,
guys public school? Sorry, Montreal.
No, go ahead, Benson. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, are your guys public schools, your kindergartens, preschools, mandatory vaccinations for the public sector over there?
Yeah, but only to. It's not mandatory COVID vaccination. Or not mandatory flu vaccination. When my nephews go to school, right? You have what?
No.
Certain
You've got like
measles, you have
mumps,
the
measles.
MMRP. Yeah, the MMRP.
Exactly.
I don't know how it works in
Those.
Texas, but here we can say that we have a sincerely held religious belief or whatever, and then they basically they can't make us get it to have our kids in, pretty sure. So
But on the whole, they have mandatory vaccinations in the schools over there, in the public
they
schools.
expect you to get your kids vaccinated. I think that's the expectation.
So
there are
Yeah.
ways around it, I believe, though.
So the
So.
COVID one will just be added to the ones that will, or a form of COVID one will just be added to the forms of mandatory vaccinations in the schools. So that's all the kids taken care of. Bang, or a majority of them.
A large portion of them, maybe.
Yeah,
And so,
then
But see, like the
then
people that are
then
sending
you got
their
the
kids to the
workplaces,
public schools,
right? Well, then you got workplaces, right? As far as teachers, nurses, doctors, anyone in the medical
But
field.
Banza, before you go on there, those vaccinations for kids, I know I had them, so did my sisters,
Yes.
all the Americans had them, okay. But that could be for an actual disease, one that actually existed, right?
I'm not saying
I'm
they
not,
were or
I'm
they
not
weren't.
I'm not against
No.
a helpful immunity, a boost to your immune system, especially if you're a kid, right? To let's say diseases carried by adults, right? That could kill kids, and so
that's just that might be what they claim it is. That doesn't mean that's what it is.
Okay, now then I'll give you a perfect example of kind of how this works. Though is like before I went to China, Bandsaw, I had to have like four shots, because China recommended it.
Yep.
And it was about the day before. It was about the day before I flew out. 2 or 3 days before I flew out. When I landed in China, dude, I was sick as hell. I was just stuffy and headache and no energy and fucking exactly.
17 of those shots you had no idea what was going into you.
I was under the propaganda that it was the pollution, that when I landed in China, it must be the pollution, right? That was the propaganda that was told to me.
Might have been. Exactly. It could have been. You never know.
Nah, I mean, I work with diesel engines and sewers and all this shit. I mean,
okay. It's different. Look, it's like when you live in the snow and you go to the beach, right, for a holiday. Yeah. Okay, you get a bit of a sniffle, right? Generally, when you get down to the beach, start off with a bit of a sniffle.
No,
right?
You're right.
Just same thing, kind of, in a roundabout way.
Yeah. Okay? Or if you live in a mild climate and you're next to the mountains, you go up to the mountains, you get a sniffle.
I would test that again, right? I'd go back to China, right? Without.
Yeah, get 4 more vaccinations.
Right. Then you'll have a baseline. You'll have a baseline, right, to compare.
I get you. So, but now this COVID thing is because there is no actual disease. There is no asymptomatic. It only affects old people that die anyway, right? It's not like there's I don't have bumps on my skin. When you get COVID, you don't get chicken pox or something. You don't get
a lot of old people
are
dying, Aaron. A lot of old people are dying, right? I'll give them that for the statistics.
I know. I saw a guy carrying his lung. I know. I saw a guy carrying his lung, an old guy carrying his lung up to the ICU, but it was packed, so he couldn't get in, and he died. Man, I mean,
his lung? What?
COVID,
I reckon. It's COVID, if you looked at any graph, right, on the top of the graph would be the old people. When it comes to death. When it comes to death, right?
Average age of COVID death in America is 78. Is 78.
You go. There you go.
Average age of normal folks' death in America?
Right.
78.
I know. Now we can compare other deaths, right? Yeah. Who's more likely to die while texting and driving, right? A young person or an old person? I'm going to gather an old person because their reflexes are slower.
Exactly. I just heard about it was like today, a few hours ago, that there's there's this outbreak now in the USA, and we're losing 3,000 people per day.
Yep.
Right. So
per day. That's a lot of people.
So that's 3,000. 3,000 times 365 is what?
It's a lot.
I did the
it's
math.
Like 9. It's like about 9. I know what 9.
3,000
or 9.
It's
9
less
million.
than a million, or it's just over a million.
900.
Over a million people.
I said 900,000 or 9 million. I got my zero in the wrong place.
3,000 times 365 is just over a million a year.
There you go.
A year, okay?
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot. So then I looked up
Exactly.
how many. Then I looked up how many kids are born in the U.S. every fucking year, and the average is 4 million.
4 million. All right. So there you go.
So we have the average age of death, which is about 1 million people dying a year in the U.S. And 4 million kids being born every single year. You know, based upon averages, right?
Yep.
Which is why we have population growth, obviously, right? So there's not this, like, this. They should have at least said 10,000 people a month are dying, right? So you have at least 3 million. So at least we could be equal with how many kids are born every year.
Get the ratios right.
Yeah, but they don't.
If nothing else, it's a tragedy. I tell you. Incorrect ratios.
I mean, come on, guys. How hard is it? You
Hey,
think
Aaron.
Guys like us? Yeah, go ahead.
Are those all just domestic deaths, or are those foreign casualties as well? Do you know?
3,000 a day is United States death in the past month. So remember, Thanksgiving was a big thing to them. Like, ever since Thanksgiving, there's a huge ramp up in deaths, right?
No, but I'm asking you. I'm sorry, just real quick. I'm just asking if you know whether or not they're differentiating between those who are dying in the war. Like, is that a separate tally?
It was a purely COVID article on ABC News. Yeah,
Okay.
purely COVID. It had nothing to do with other forms of death. Because those don't exist anymore. So heart disease doesn't exist. Choking on food kills more people, I guess, than COVID's, but that's not counted anymore.
Bee stings.
Bee stings, exactly. Allergic reaction to bee stings. Actually, no. Running away from bees and getting hit by a car is probably more deadly than COVID.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
I've seen people freak out by bees. I'm not scared of bees, but they'll run around and hit the same tree that the bees came out of.
So
they just lose their mind. Yeah.
It's bloody wasps you got to be careful of. Bees are pretty friendly. They'll just fly around. They're just having a bit of a sniff. That's all they're doing, right? Just sniffing around. It's the wasps. They're the ones you got to watch because they're aggressive little mongrels.
Yeah, I'm not even worried about wasps. I've never been stung by a bee or a wasp ever.
Are you serious?
Never. Yeah.
That's crazy. I was just having a flashback when I was a kid, probably 10 years old, maybe. My grandmother's house that I go to now, but my grandfather was alive. He had some beehives, and I remember being out in the backyard. I think I was like pulling weeds or some kind of, I don't know what it was, but I felt like I was attacked by this one bee, like because I felt like why are you guys laughing? Stop laughing at me. Okay, look, no, listen.
I can imagine.
Listen, hold on. Listen. So the I don't know, the foliage or whatever it was that was growing around, I was hacking away at this, but there were flowers on it. So I felt like I had upset the bee because I was like hacking it where he wanted to get some pollen or whatever. Anyway, he buzzed around my head like he was annoyed, right? He was like annoyed with me. He was buzzing around my head. So I'm swatting away or whatever. And then, like a minute or two later, I looked to my right, or to the side of me, and it was like a horror film, like where I could see the bee in clarity, and then the background dropped away, like it was just like, like he was coming after me, and he went straight into my hair, and it was like the early '80s, late 70s, so like my hair was long. And so that fucker got caught in my hair and stung my scalp. He
got
came
you
after
good.
me.
Hell yeah.
He came after me.
Fuck yeah, B.
The
Strong ass
bumblebee
B.
onto the tag.
Took Travis down.
Boom. That's what you get for hacking into flowers.
Hey, that's right, Travis.
That's
keep
what
on your own ground.
I know, right? That's how I felt like it was. Like he was pissed at me because I was hacking away at some flowers.
Or cut your hair. One of the two, dude. I mean, maybe he just got caught in your hair because you're sitting there wilding out, just swinging your hair around. He was just meaning to do a flyby, right? He's trying to buzz you, and he got caught up in your hair and said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna sting this guy."
That's right.
No, we had the murder hornets down here last year.
Murder.
Yeah. Before COVID, it was 2019. It was before COVID. We had the murder hornets.
What, they murder you, do they?
I mean,
In the middle of the night.
So.
Sneak through the window.
Yeah, they got their,
Little
they got their
balaclavas
daggers.
on. Bang. Middle of the night.
You've never heard of murder hornets, Fanso?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay, cool.
Mm,
Because I'm just like, man, maybe there are murder hornets. Whatever. If you're gonna murder me, fine. What a great way to go out, right? It's like fucking I got killed by a bunch
I heard they got a nasty sting, but apart from that, they just take over other beehives. I think.
Like I don't shoo them that way. Like if they're around my face, I just cover my, just put my hand over my face and they fly away. I don't shoo them, don't push them away. I don't hit them, and they go away. They don't want to fuck with me. I don't know why, but don't fuck with them.
They're generally just after other bees to murder hornets. Don't fuck with them, and then they'll leave you alone. Otherwise, they're going to give you a nasty old sting. Probably won't murder you, unless you have some sort of reaction to them.
Would I have to go to the ICU if I got?
Well, if you can get there, right? If you can. Like, what happens if you can't?
I mean, there's so many old people dying. I mean, all the ambulances are full
exactly.
these days.
There's a backlog. What do you think they're going to take it, right, into consideration, right? A COVID call out or a bumblebee bite?
Mm-hmm.
Prioritize, right?
There you go. Good call.
That's what you got to do. Limited resources.
Old man's having a heart attack. You don't call in heart attack. Right. You say COVID infection.
That's
Boom.
right.
Boom.
See, this is why the police need tanks to keep the streets clear.
Exactly. That's funny shit.
Very well is.
Grandpa's on his last leg, which he has been for about the past 10 years. He's on his
exactly. Well, he's other one amputated in the war. That's why he's on his last leg.
He was swatting at a fly. He was swatting at a bee with one leg, and damn. Damn it, Grandpa. We just added to the stats, the ICU stats. Mm-hmm. Overloaded. Here we go.
Well, it's handy having a false leg. You can use it as a bee swat. Boom.
Let's be honest. Has any of us ever swatted at a bee, or I'll say any insect, and actually hit yourself on accident? Have you ever done that?
No,
I
the
have.
back of my hand, by my
I have,
knuckles,
yeah.
and you get your knuckle a ripper, and it bruises up.
Like, fucking, what was I doing?
That's right.
Like, get away from me, dude. Boom. And I hit
What the
myself
hell?
in the face. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
No, I usually do it on a bit of machinery. It's generally like a sharp edge or something, and you'll get your knuckle. Or the palm of your hand. You palm of your hand will hit something, like a nut or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Boom.
It's never where you think it's going to go, right? You cover your face, hits your balls. You cover your balls, hits your face. There you go.
Yeah, so I went out, like I said, today to take some shots, and just got the perfect scene for seeing farther, but the image is compressed and distorted. So I thought tomorrow looks like it's going to be the same temperature, right? So I looked up as soon as I got there and was taking some shots. I said, okay, let's see what tomorrow looks like. It looks like it's going to be the same day. So it'll be interesting. I think I'm going to try to go out maybe late morning to early afternoon and try to shoot and see if I can catch transitions. So we'll see if that works out well.
Make sure you don't lie about your location this time, eh?
You gonna
And
try? Are you gonna try and catch Are you gonna set up your camera and have it watch to see if you can catch like the magnification in action, like as it happens?
Right. So I'm pretty sure that I would have done that already, or I'm probably sure I've done it, but just have not been at the processing stage to understand what I was looking at. I've caught a lot of things that I've pointed out already. That one I don't know, because I've watched the horizon rise and fall. I don't know that I've ever watched the horizon recede and progress. I don't know that I've ever seen that. So I don't know. I don't know. Oh, you know what, though? What I will say, the last time I was in California, the first week that I was there was just poor. The conditions were just poor. Nothing was really, the visibility wasn't great. But the other thing was the conditions were consistent, like hours and hours and hours of nothing changing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it wasn't dynamic. I took a picture and I could only see this much of the thing, and 6 hours later, same exact image. I'm like, man, this is boring. So that's that's all part of the game, right? That's
I mean, like, not every time you go out is going to be this brand new discovery of something amazing, but I think it would be really cool if we could. This would probably take setting up the camera for like maybe even days at a time and having it record hours and hours. But if we could catch it basically starting off one way and then transitioning on its own without ever touching the camera into magnified or unmagnified, like, I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Well, you know what I was looking at the other day again? I was looking at the Skunk Bay footage. Have you seen that, Bob?
It sounds like maybe something I've heard of, but I don't know what it is. What you're referring to?
So I can't remember what location is that. SE or anybody else know where it is? Anyway, there's
a New Fundy somewhere, not New Fundy, but somewhere up in Canada, I think, is Skunk Bay.
Is it up that far? So anyway, it's this weather station and it has, I think, maybe a time lapse of like almost 12 hours, almost the whole day, just video, and it's sped up, and you see everything that we've seen. Everything changes up, down, and it's just crazy. The one thing now that we're talking about it is going to go back tomorrow and watch to see if the field of view changes at all. Because pretty much what changes is just it rises and falls, rises and falls. But one of the things I did notice was that there was a very extensive distance that you could see sailboats like fucking far away, like crazy far, right? And I guess that would depend on how high the station was, but there wasn't any of that data, so I don't know what that was. Anyway, what was my point? My point was, I think what I was going to say was just that I was going to go look back over that Skunk Bay footage and see if there was anything left to write.
Check field of view, but also, Travis, and it's something that's not quite intuitive, is look into the mountains in the background.
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah. I do that. Yep.
Those raise and lower, they come into view, they go out of view.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. I'm trying to think if I don't know. I don't know what the transition time is for what I would call looming. If it's a consistent thing, if it's just as uniform all day long, or if it develops or not, I don't know. So I'll have to get up tomorrow, and hopefully if there's been a couple of mornings where we've had some morning fog, so.
I don't mean to bring up old bones, Travis, but what if, let's say it's flat, the water surface is flat, and you're looking off into the distance. Let's say there is a reflection of light, let's say the sun in the distance, or at least light. It might be behind a cloud or something.
What do you mean?
Light is warming, right? Light warms stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Including surfaces, right? Such as your picnic table. It could be cold as hell, but if the sun's out, top of your picnic table is warm, right?
Is that actually does light warm? Or is there something that normally
warms something?
Light warms?
You're right, Bob. Something warms something. And so, if you're looking out over a distance, especially of water or even land, actually, that light, whether direct or reflective, just the temperature difference right there is going to cause an effect at that location.
Yeah, and I think that would be a variable that would be nearly impossible to assess. I mean, you'd have to be able to control it. You'd have to be able to control. Stop the sun, start the sun, stop the sun, start the sun, move the sun. Anybody? Hello?
I'm here.
I can hear you.
Yeah, Mark out in the chat just put a link in for weather cams, so I'll have to save that.
Awesome. And time lapse, right? That time lapse. Travis, think about you've done 2 or 3 hour observations, and you've time lapsed them pretty quick, back when you edit. But just think if you spent all day out there at Anacapa or Chesapeake, right?
Just see. Yeah. I mean, I could do that. I think I'm going to have to adjust because I've shot mostly video,
Mm.
and if I shot what's the word, time lapse,
Yeah.
the battery life would be extended, so I would be able to stay out there all day. When I shoot video, I've got about 7 hours that I can stay out, because I've got six batteries, so that's 3 times for each camera. So then I've got about 6 to 7 hours, and then when I go back to charge it up, it takes basically the rest of the day. So I only have that much. But if I switched my methodology to doing time lapse, which is just taking one snapshot every 10 seconds, I think I'd be able to stretch the whole day out.
It'd be cool to go from evening
right.
into dusk, right, into darkness, all over the Chesapeake, right, at the Red Roof, just to see kind of what happens, with the temperature change. That'd be
right.
kind of fun.
Well, you know what would be good too, because I've got, but see, then I would want 10 cameras. But if I had the Red Roof, if I shot it zoomed in, and then I shot it zoomed out, so that you have the entire landscape, right? So you can see what it does at a distance with everything, right? So like, this is the thing that blows my mind. If this works in making sense, see if you can follow what I'm saying, right? So this is what really blew my mind when I saw the first image of 2 different shots at the same focal length, and the field of view was the different. I'm like, what the hell is going on, right? So when I walk out and stand on the shore, and I'm like right on the shore, so I'm at 510 elevation. When I look straight ahead, I see the horizon at my eye level. Okay, that doesn't change in any of those variant conditions. If I'm going out during looming, it's at eye level. If I go out and it's proximate looming, it's at eye level. Right? That's what blew me away, is that the entire field of view shifts. What's proximate, or what's in the foreground, what's in the midground, what's in the background, it's all uniform. It's not like one part gets affected and the other part has to figure out and catch up and go, okay, how are we going to adjust to this? The whole thing is just natural and automatic.
Yeah,
So,
within the same field of view.
Right. So you would think that, like, the images that I showed yesterday, the still shots, where the house that was loomed was, I believe, I'm just going to say it, I don't, if it's not right, was dropped back and down. And then the approximate looming was brought closer and higher. Right? So if you think spatially, higher, lower. But if you looked at them both, they'd be right at eye level. Both of them. Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Unless Jose's calling you a liar and you're moving your camera up and down, Travis, are you?
Yeah, right.
Now, what would be great though is to catch all that on time lapse, and because you already have the normal lapse, right?
Yeah.
So catch it on time lapse, side by side those, and be like, see, this is what's going on. You guys think I'm moving my fucking camera. Field of view is not changed, but look here, right? Even though you're doing side by sides on your channel, trying to show that, but a time lapse would just make it super clear.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'll have to switch that up. I'll have to set aside my my preference. I prefer video, but I think I prefer video because, there could be something within that 10 seconds that gets missed. So I think that the video can catch the whole thing.
Well,
but,
that's why you have 2 cameras, don't you? Or just one?
Yeah.
You have 2. So set one up, for the ballers, so they, they can pick it apart. set the other one up where they're gonna, it's time lapse, dude. It's accelerated math apparently, right? They're gonna have to think about the math Rumpus is gonna have to do to, calculate a time lapse, right? Ugh.
Well, yeah, but even think about what you
You're breaking up a tad. Breaking up a tad.
what Pebbles
Okay.
in the past as it does. It's not okay.
No, you're good now.
Just think about what Pebbles in the Pond showed us. It wasn't a time lapse, and it happened as fast transition that Pebbles had. I would have to show you a time lapse of a couple hours because the weather doesn't change that fast here. But the influence that he brought in with raising the door up, the change came so fast. But that would be like, okay, Rumpus, what's happening right now so that the entire boat is gone, right?
Mm.
And I've brought that up before now. So is the light bending down? Is it because it's you? If you think about it, if you watched the boat disappeared from the top and the bottom, compressing together.
I'm sure someone has, but has Rumpus ever come back with an analyzation of Skunk Bay at all?
I've never seen anybody analyze it.
No, but I know he's been asked about it. But he whistles past it,
Yeah, he just whistles. Yeah.
What was that Pebble person reading that stuff for? When I got in here?
I had gotten that in case the show needed something to do.
Oh, okay.
Because I was given that pamphlet by a baller. It was basically somebody wrote it in the early or the mid 1900s, and it was all about flat Earth and how we know that how we know we live on a globe and how they used to think back then. So I thought it would just be interesting.
Is that what it gets to? Like, is that it eventually is like, here's how we know that it's not flat, that kind of stuff?
No, it starts out that way right away. It just goes through. It just goes through a number of arguments.
I just had a great idea. Because I see Rocky Alive in the chat there on Discord. A time lapse of, if he could, because I know he's on the side of a highway, a time lapse of Soundly's fucking observation. Think about that, right? Watching that bridge go up and down, like up above, raising, looming, and then going back down and back up and back down through the day. That'd be funny as shit, dude.
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of spots for us to, again, if we could raise the funds for a year's worth of research, one of the things that we haven't really done is doing observations over land. So we would have to try to find something that we could compare to Canigou, and take a long distance shot of a very high mountain. I guess it would probably be the, maybe the Rockies.
If you're looking for a long distance shot, yeah. But the ballers don't take Canigou as curvature, right? They don't. That was kind of our argument, right? But Soundly's, all your observations, Travis, they take as curvatures. All Ranties, right? They take as curvature because they're single photos, right? Single photos, and they can sit there and fucking math the fuck out of them. Be like, yep, see, it's curvature. There you go. Even Kosho can do it, and that guy's fucking dimwit. But the idea of the time lapse, where you're saying, well, you could even trick Erebus and say, okay, Erebus, here's my shot, right, of Gina, right? And he'll be like, "Yeah, this is exactly why, Travis, because you're fucking it," and then fucking time lapse him, right? Like he tricked you a couple years ago. Fuck him, time lapse him. Like, okay, Airbus, math the shit out of that. Go for it. But he can't do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean by Canigoo not being ballers. It is. That's exactly what it is, because that's what Ruhif uses. He uses Canigoo as proof of curvature.
Yeah, but we brought it up.
We did. We brought up Canigoo.
As far as I remember, I think Jaren was the first one to, in my world, Jaren was the first one to bring up the long distance 335 miles of Canigoo.
Oh, okay.
In my world. I don't need Ruhif to tell me what it is when it shouldn't even be there to begin with. In Ruhif's world.
Well, you're right. So then that's part of it. The reason why we see something is because it's in our line of sight. The reason why light is allegedly bouncing off an object and we can see it is because it's there. So if it's not there, then we can't see it. So I'm trying to think through where I was going to go with this based on what you just said. You just said this. Shoot. So, because the thing about looming is that it only makes sense because Rumpus says that looming always happens. Okay.
Of course he says that. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in
Rumpus
my
can also see his own ass in the telescope. So
listen,
the people last night though, they were saying it's rare, right?
Right, which pisses me off. I'm just like, you don't belong in this conversation. If you just made that statement, you do not belong here. Now, this is what I said when I did my readings in refraction earlier this year. When you read Andrew Thomas Young and he describes a particular phenomenon, he'll say that it's abnormal. No, it's not. It's exactly what should happen in that condition. What he means to say is it's not frequent, right? So there's a difference between something being abnormal and being infrequent.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
it's not abnormal for it to snow in Texas if the conditions are correct. It's just not frequent for it to snow in Texas.
Well, right, but hello? Somebody say,
hello?
Somebody checking? Are you checking in?
Oh, I don't hear anyone else.
Oh, I thought someone joined. Okay, I apologize. Anyway, my point is that if I went out and broke down all of my shots to see how frequent it was for me to get a looming shot, I suppose then you could do a what's the word? A statistic. You can get a statistic in terms of how frequent you see those things. But I don't believe that they are as infrequent as paid NASA shields last night. He goes, oh yeah, that doesn't happen very often. I would strongly disagree with that.
Travis, is looming in your mind? Is that an action? Right? Could because like jumping, is an action. Running is an action. Looming is an action. If you can catch it in the act, right?
It's
right,
an effect.
Right.
It's an effect, not an action, right?
It's
like saying that the sun shining is an action. No, it's an effect.
The shining is an action. Right?
Is it though? I'm not sure that it is.
Well,
think
let's
it's
just
an
go.
effect.
Let's go. Okay, let's go with
It's an
the standard
observation, maybe, but
English vernacular where the ing denotes a verb, right? An actional, movement. Um, so anything walking, that's a movement, right? Um, anything ing is a movement. So my only point there, Bob, is not to talk about language because is if looming is something that you can catch in the action, right? I know, Travis, you've taken shots of looming, but still shots, right?
Well, no, I've got videos of it. I've got videos of it too, but I'm moving around the entire time and moving from shot to shot, but I'm not camped out filming the process.
Mm-hmm.
The transition, as it were. But
why are you against just taking a couple time lapses over the Chesapeake Bay?
Why am I against
even
it?
3 hours, right? Even 3 or 4 hours, whatever your camera will lend you, right? Your data card and the battery, whatever, right?
Yeah. Why am I against it?
Yeah.
It's not that I'm not against it. It's just not my preferred medium. It's like an artist, and you say, why don't you use watercolors? Because I like to use charcoal.
But you're the one that brought up Skunk Bay.
I know it's a new thought. I know.
Okay.
It's a new thought. And I'm saying that I'm going to have to change my methodology.
I'm saying that if you did that, I'd support you. That'd be great.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, going back to the whole thing, like we would have different areas across the United States where we would want to be taking these observations.
Yeah, like Soundlace Bridge and
because
what about Genofredo too? We could even go Genofredo just to make sure that what she was looking at. Where was she looking at? Montreal, across
I don't know, the
Lake
needle,
Erie?
the Needle Tower, wherever that is. Where's that at? SE.
I
think it's called the Needle. Toronto. It might be Toronto. I think it's
Toronto. Toronto. You're right.
Wait.
Toronto.
Are you talking about the Space Needle?
Whatever.
No, the needle
Seattle,
over there
I think,
in Toronto.
right?
Toronto,
No,
Canada.
no, it's
across
not
from
that.
Lake Erie. Yeah, across from Lake Erie. It's like 38
New
miles
York.
away.
Maybe not.
It's from New York to Canada. I think it's Toronto.
But
it's called the Needle, though.
Yeah.
It's a very thin tower. But you know what? I believe that my analysis of that video was where I first introduced my concept of proximate looming, I think.
Oh, yeah. You're totally right about that.
What's the difference between looming and proximal looming?
Okay, so it's the demarcation of the foreground and the background. So the foreground is the water to the horizon, and the background is the horizon to the object in the distance. And looming is only a characteristic of distance past the horizon. So
say the first one again. Proximal looming is what? Hello?
What did I? Yeah, I'm trying to think through what I said. What did I say, Aaron? Proximate looming is in regards to the foreground, in front of the horizon, from you to the horizon, the foreground.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, and theirs is from behind it up over it.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the same idea. Looming simply means you're bringing something up. It's being raised up. That's what the term is in refraction. So if I can't see something in a photograph one day, and then I go back the next day and repeat the same thing, and then I see an object that's stationary and wasn't there the day before, well, then in their world, before it was behind the curve, and now the curve has been flattened out through looming, which raises that image up. So it's not physically there, not actually there. right?
Well, that's what they say it is, right? It like it somehow comes up over the curve of the Earth, and that's why you can see it, but it's not actually there.
Right, because it's all yeah. It's like a hologram.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that's might maybe a really good way to describe it and show the ridiculousness of it. Is that basically what they're saying is the Earth or atmosphere or whatever makes a hologram.
Yeah. But when you understand what happens in looming itself, it's that it affects the entire field of view, so that um, the day before, when you couldn't see the object, the foreground was actually raised up to block the object. And then when the next day, when you have looming, it's the same idea. The landscape gets flattened out, and then the image gets dropped back. It's very. I mean, you have to see it. You have to see it. I've seen it so many times watching my footage.
Well,
Understanding.
I was just curious what the difference was between the two loomings, but I mean, just simplified down, they think it's from beyond the horizon. Proximal would be from before the horizon.
Correct, but they don't call anything in refraction looming except for their one concept. So they don't have a concept for proximate looming. It doesn't happen.
Rumpus brings up looming, it seems like, all the time when he's in here. But he's always
Right.
talking about like how basically objects are coming up from behind the curve, and that's why you can see them, because they're looming.
Right.
You're saying that they don't have any concept of what you're mentioning. They just like deny that it even happens at all.
Well, what they do have, if you want to take the time after this hangout, go look up the refractive phenomenon called sinking. That's the idea.
Okay.
Because what looming is that you see an object that normally is hidden behind the curve. Sinking is you see less of an object that you normally see all of.
Yeah.
And
so Travis,
hold on, just real quick. I'm sorry. Let me finish my thought just real quick, please. So again, for them, the effect of sinking happens behind the horizon. And I'm saying, no, the proximate looming is what causes the appearance of sinking, and it happens in front of the horizon. Go ahead, Aaron.
So on Peter the Great's video, right, where his camera lens is what caught that. We watch whatever his camera caught. Okay.
Yeah.
And we saw, right? We saw a whole bunch of effects, but, what would you call that?
Say it again. I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Say it again.
So Peter the Great's video, thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Pebble in the Pond. His camera caught a view, and we just review it. We review it. Okay? We look at it on video, and he made it really great. But what effect would you call that?
I'm not really sure. I don't know if I understand exactly what you're asking.
Okay, was there an effect in Peter the Great's video?
Yeah. I mean, yes.
What would you call it? Just simply inferior mirage? You're just gonna call it that, or would you think when you're talking about with Bob about proximate looming that maybe right as the cold air is rushing in, there's still warm air next to the camera that cause that what you're calling that approximate looming, and cause us not to see the lasers and blocks and everything.
Yeah. So. Well, don't mix those two phenomena just yet, because we haven't seen proximate looming with what, at least as far as I've seen. with what Pebbles in the Pond has shown us. Okay, so we haven't seen that yet. So I would just say before he opens the door and he lowers his camera, we get an inferior mirage. And then when he raises the door, it simply gets increased. And then you also have, like, if before he opens the door, everything's pretty static, but you have an inferior mirage because of the angle. And then when he increases the index of air, the image not only becomes more I don't know what the word is. The image increases in the mirage, but there's also an activity in the air that is dynamic. So there's movement as well as the mirage.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I recognized anything that I would have considered proximate looming.
Okay. Such as the foreground.
Well, I mean, I do remember seeing dynamic motion like waves,
Mm-hmm.
but not an obstruction of the foreground to anything in the background. So
No. Approximate looming does not obstruct the foreground, right? It obstructs the background.
well, okay, yeah, whatever. If I miss, yeah, right.
Sorry.
Yeah. So the thing that I've never seen is I've never seen on the Chesapeake Bay a combination of looming and proximate looming. I've seen a combination of proximate looming and an inferior mirage.
Are you going all baller on me, saying that there's only one effect that you could ever see? Are you going baller on me?
No.
Okay.
In regards to these two things, I've never seen proximate looming and looming.
I'm not sure that you know that for sure. I understand
Sure.
what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be a very bizarre. It would be almost like, it would be a very bizarre event. It would be like having something in focus and out of focus at the same time.
Almost like Skunk Bay, a little bit, right? You know, very bizarre. Where even the background mountains, you know, whatever they are, a quarter mile away, maybe half mile away, are rising and looming in the background. Those mountains. Has nothing to do with the temperature of the water, you know, with the cameras looking over, right? But just the whole aspect of everything that you talk about, the ether band.
Yeah, it would be like looking over the fucking Kennedy assassination tape every frame. Click. Just looking at every single frame, every single shift. But yeah, that's the one thing. Again, the looming conditions I see. The house is never in a angular, crisp presentation, and even the boats that are on the water are distorted to hell.
And you've captured still shots of that.
Yeah. I mean, I did a couple videos this last week on it.
Yeah, I've seen them. what's wrong with just running through a 3-hour time lapse in 10 minutes, right? And saying, right, and taking still shots from that and being like, here's what's going on, motherfuckers, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I start doing that, and then I get distracted, and I think of something else, and then I forget what I started out doing. I do that all the time, man.
All right. I'm just saying that you'd be very great at that because you are on a very good place. You found a great place there on Chesapeake Bay. We all know the objects, the destinations. We know the bay. We understand the distances. And we can, if anybody doubts, we can research temperatures and all that shit too. The inlet of the bay, the outlet. So if there was a time lapse there, I just think that would just be kind of sealing the deal against Jose calling you a liar, right?
Well, his thing has to do not with my location. His thing has to do with the focal length of the camera.
Well, I know. So if you have a time lapse, that wouldn't happen, right? You're not gonna zoom in and zoom out on your time lapse.
No, because the differences between the images that Jose was complaining about the 2 different days. It's not a difference within the same shot or the same.
Yeah. I'm not defending Jose at all. What I'm saying is you could show it to Jose in a 6-hour time lapse on one day. Right?
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, I think I understand. So if I was able to show a change in the field of view, okay, I see.
No, I'm saying don't change the field of view, but change what the red roof looks like, what the water looks like, what the buoys look like, how that proximate looming comes up, then goes back down, then comes back up and goes back down, and the tower in the background goes up and comes back down. The tree line in the background moves up, moves down, right?
Yeah.
And all you have to do is 3 hours of it probably, or whatever, pick your day, but with no field of view change, no height change of the camera. It's all one. It's all just there.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna try that tomorrow. It's gonna be in the mid-40s. It wasn't too bad today.
Yeah, and it might not be the first one you take, but hopefully it is. And
I think I'll I don't know if I should shoot the same one, zoom in, and then wide shot. I should shoot 2 different locations in the same time period to see if there are different effects.
There you go.
Directions.
Yep,
That's why I need 10 cameras.
At least you have 2. I don't have any, so. Let that one camera run on time lapse for however long your data card will, your camera will let it fill up, whatever it is. Shot, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever you think is good. And then, but also keep taking your shots too. Say, okay, because you have a time script on the, the time lapse camera, and you have a time script on your camera, and they're both set up at the same fucking time. So you took a shot, keep taking your shots, right? I just think the time lapse is going to be a much more, what do you call that? Impressionable aspect.
Yeah.
I'd like Flatzoid, right? Flatza?
Flatza? Yeah.
Take time lapse of Bass Rock, right? And just watch what happens, it'll never sink below, or maybe it will. You know, I don't know, sink below the mirage, but it'll never disappear. You know, Bass Rock. But.
Yeah, you know what would be interesting then too would be to have someone like Critical Think, because he's got, I think he has a P900. So if he sets up his auto level, and he takes his still shot, and then he has his camera recording the time lapse of a couple of hours, and then he takes another picture of his auto level, and there's a difference between the two. And he's got the before and after and the transition.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? That would fuck up their whole the Stadia moves argument, you know.
Yeah, I've thought about it every once in a while, and I just remember when I'm home, try to find some local tire semi-professional surveyor and have him come out for.
I'm waiting to see the shot of Soundley's Bridge just wagging like a dog's tail. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Rakia, you're on the hook.
All right. Well, I think the Discord obviously is gonna stay open, but I think I'm gonna kill the stream and go listen to some shows that I want to be listening.
No final thoughts. No.
I'm getting there. So whoever's here in the channel, I don't even know who's in the chat anymore. We'll just start with you, Aaron.
Cool. Final thoughts, Travis. If you can, I would like to see. And look, I'm just a requester. I don't do any of these observations by myself. I get it. But if you could, and if your channel or your camera will do it, you have enough data card and battery. Take time lapses, and I'd like to see it. So, thanks, Travis.
Cool. Whoever's next, Bandsaw, you here?
Yeah, man. Well, I'll see what I see. Anyway, guys.
That was great.
And
You'll
who else
die.
is in here? Who else is in here? Is Essie still here?
Yeah, he's here.
Final thoughts, guys. Just pick it up. I don't see who's here, so just one after the other.
Essie Montreal?
No, they're deafened. They're deafened.
They're all deafened. Okay. Everybody deafened? All right.
Yeah, they're deafened.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for being a part of the show tonight. And I think I may try to do this again tomorrow since I'll be on the road. And I'll, unless Cleary's going to do a show. If Cleary's going to do a show, then maybe I won't crisscross those wires again. So.
Oops. All right.
No worries, Sam. I'll be on jams, Sam. Yeah, I'll be on jams. So.
Okay, guys. I'm going to take a second to finally shut that down. But like I said, the Discord.
Nearly there. Nearly there.
Oh, man, so it's just me and you. What can I?
She'll win.
Say again?
Oh, NASA Shill was here.
Oh, who's that?
I don't know. Your nemesis. One of them.
Oh, paid NASA Shill came in?
Yeah.
just like right now, and then he hopped out.
He was here for about probably 30 seconds, a minute.
That's fine.
All right, guys, we'll catch you later.
All right, be safe.
Thanks, guys. Okay. So, Banzo, when are we gonna put our pants on? Get out of bed. Actually, go out to our property, start growing shit, and putting up fences and protecting our shit.